deadly mobile game. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76, Tide of Corpses. No wonder the chickens, ducks, pigs and sheep in the breeding area look so weird. A player who had visited the breeding area exclaimed, "Do the chickens, ducks, pigs and sheep in the breeding area look very weird?" Players who had not been to the breeding area were confused. "You haven't seen it yet, have you? A chicken can grow taller than a horse in a month, and the pigs, each one looks like an elephant, and there are many tumors on their bodies." Luo Ye continued, "No way, so disgusting. Where do you think the food you eat every day comes from? If these animals grow normally, how can you support so many people in the training base?" Luo Ye asked the player a few questions. "That makes sense. TSK, no wonder it tastes so delicious." This game really pays attention to rationality, especially in terms of details. Who cares what the NPCs eat and drink in general games? Indeed, I noticed that my character would automatically go to the toilet when not in operation, and the things in the cesspool over there in the ecological park flowed out from the living area. It's amazing that a novice village is so meticulous in every aspect. The players started to make fun of it. Fortunately, the players only eat these foods in the game, and they don't have to eat them themselves. Otherwise, after seeing the human face and rotten meat, it would be really hard to swallow these foods. Not only the animals in the breeding area, but also the plants in the ecological park are horrible. Last time I saw a cucumber that was thicker than my body and more than 2 meters long. Liu, who was also in the warrior group, also spoke up. "Damn, such a thick cucumber? You girls can't use it." This time, it was Qin, who was also in the warrior group, who spoke up. "Why can't it be used?" "It can still be used." Liu disagreed with Qin statement. "It can still be used? Can you put it in?" Qin laughed. "I can use a single sheet of mask to cover my entire face, so why can't I use it?" Qin, what's in your head? Why do you always think about unhealthy things? Liu said in a very sarcastic tone. "You are healthy? If you are healthy, can you understand what I say? You can blame others for making random associations by saying that cucumbers are thick." Qin continued to laugh. "You guys." Luo Ye was speechless about this. Shooter team. "Coach, you said before that if we normal humans die in the wild, we will become black corpses. Why did this newcomer become this kind of wall corpse?" After vomiting in the bathroom, Yu Gang returned to the room, picked up his phone, and asked the coach another question. "Mutation. He must have experienced some strange things in the darkness of the wild, and became a pile of rotten meat on the ground. Then the resource team collected it and placed it in the factory building of this factory. In the future, when you go out, if you see similar lumps of rotten meat on the ground, you can write down the coordinates and report them to the resource team, and you will get extra contribution points as a reward." "Oh, okay." Yu Gang looked at the faces on the wall, and his heart became even more uneasy. He once again thought of the panoramic picture that Luo Jing had grown with red cabbage and cabbage. There is something wrong with this game. A big problem. If I continue to play, I'm afraid there will be big problems. However, if I quit, I will end up like Luo Jing. It's better to die than to become an NPC and be forced to film manure and grow vegetables. If I become a pile of rotten meat like this in the factory building, and have my blood drawn by the resource team in buckets every day, and have my own consciousness, then it would be worse than death. What should I do? I can't just sit there and wait for death. I have to think of something. Assassin group. What has happened in this game world? Nuclear war? Alien invasion? Zhang Xiaoming asked Coach Yuan Kaiang. After playing this game for so long, Jingjai Studio did not provide players with background information of the game. On weekdays, the faces of the NPCs in the training base were uglier than each other, and he had not been able to ask effective information. This was an opportunity to ask Coach Yuan Kaiang. "That's not a question you should consider." Yuan Kaiang looked absent-minded. Jin Ke was a little surprised that Yuan Kaiang did not answer Zhang Xiaoming's question. When he asked Zheng Shidao about it, Zheng Shidao explained it to him in detail. It seems that whether the NPCs in the game are willing to answer the questions raised by the players should indeed be related to their hidden attribute intimacy. After completing the task of collecting raw materials, everyone was preparing to return, but they received bad news from the base. A corpse brain lord floated over from nowhere and happened to pass by the front door of the training base, causing a tide of corpses to gather at the front door of the training base. The tide of corpses was very dangerous, and the team stayed in the factory temporarily and could not return to the base. It's already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If we can't return to the base by 6 o'clock, won't we all die? Yes. Isn't it said that the base personnel must return to the base before 6 o'clock in the afternoon? Don't worry. With so many people, the base will definitely make arrangements. But this is an unexpected situation. The newcomers talked about it. Everyone, stay calm. The heavy energy weapons of the base have locked on the passing corpse brain lord. As long as it enters the range, it can be shot down. And it's a good thing that the corpse brain lord passes by, so you can have a big meal in the wild. The captains of each team looked relaxed, and didn't take the corpse brain lord and the zombies seriously at all. Coach Yuan, what big meal? Eat that corpse brain lord? Zhang Xiaoming asked Yuan Kaiang in confusion. What are you thinking about? The corpse brain lord brought the zombies. The energy artillery of the base killed the corpse brain lord. The zombies will scatter without command. You just go over to kill monsters and get energy points. Isn't it a big meal? Yuan Kaiang answered Zhang Xiaoming. Then, will it be dangerous? A zombie tide. Zhang Xiaoming looked very worried. Don't you see that I, your super nanny, am here? Yuan Kaiang rolled his eyes at Zhang Xiaoming. At about 3:30, news came from the base that the base's heavy energy weapons had successfully destroyed the corpse brain lord, and the teams that were out could return. In addition, after the corpse brain lord was destroyed, a large number of black corpses that had lost the control of the corpse brain were roaming near the main gate of the base. The composition of the zombie tide was relatively simple, and there were no mutated black corpses or other wild monsters among them. The base decided to arrange a feast of hunting energy points for the newcomers between 4 and 5:30. Hearing that they were going to fight wild monsters, the new players seemed very excited. For most of them, this was the first time to fight wild monsters outside. After the captains of each team explained the characteristics of the black corpses to the players and re-emphasized the combat discipline, they led the players back to the base. Chapter 77 Help. Because the zombies had dispersed, sporadic black zombies began to appear on the way back to the base. Most of the new players were cautious at first, but under the leadership of some brave new players, they found that these black zombies were not a big threat. So they swarmed over and began to slaughter the black zombies. Even though these wild monsters do not have health bars, assassins and shooters have inherent advantages in grabbing heads because of their fast attack speed and high output. I don't know if the system is trying to find a balance, but the skill upgrades of assassins and shooters require more dark energy points, and many professional skills require dark energy points to be released. The energy points required for skill upgrades of tanks and warriors are only half of those of assassins and shooters, and releasing skills does not require dark energy points. The proportion of dark energy points required by each profession just matches the probability of each profession grabbing heads in a melee, so the organizers of this field mission did not make special grouping requirements for each profession to fight wild monsters, allowing these players to attack and grab dark energy points on their own. In their opinion, without the health display, each new student has a certain chance of grabbing dark energy points, and there is no possibility of unfairness. After the field team came into contact with the scattered black corpses, the mobile phone screen soon showed a phenomenon common in other mobile games. A large number of newcomers poured into the wild monster area, and as soon as a wild monster appeared, its health was instantly drained. At the beginning, even if Jin Ke had a health detection plug-in, it was not easy for him to grab the head. But later, as the team advanced towards the main entrance area of the training base, the number of black corpses increased, and after the players dispersed, Jin Ke's opportunity came. Whirlwind Slash, Thunderbolt Arrow, Throat Seal, It's almost down. Is it my turn this time? Three players who had temporarily combined together were besieging a black corpse. Death arc. A red light flashed, and Jin's figure appeared behind the black corpse, leaving behind a corpse, taking away 5 dark energy points and 3 players' curses of human head dog. There were many assassins and shooters like Jin who were roaming around. Some succeeded, while others did not. They just gave away their damage output in vain. Moreover, most of the monster-killing teams were temporary combinations, so no one paid special attention to Jin. No one noticed that Jin successfully took away 5 points of dark energy every time. Soon Jin's 125 energy points were almost full. Of course, he used all these dark energy points to upgrade his skill levels. He used 20 energy points to upgrade Death Arc from LV2 to LV3, and used 40 energy points to upgrade Death Arc from LV3 to LV4. With more than 40 energy points, Jin also upgraded the Death Kiss skill from LV3 to LV4. For every level of Death Kiss, the critical strike effect increased by 5%. After upgrading to LV4, the Death Kiss increased the critical strike effect by 20%. For every level of Death Arc skill, the physical damage increased by 5%. After Death Arc was upgraded to LV4, the physical damage of Death Arc also increased by 20%. The combined effect of these two skills increased Jin's damage output by about 40% compared to when these two skills were both at level 1. Giving him a higher success rate when grabbing heads. After quickly upgrading his skills, Jin continued to invest in the business of grabbing heads. With the help of the health detection plugin and the upgraded skills, his efficiency in grabbing heads became higher and higher, and all the dark energy points that could not be stored were used to upgrade his skills. Zhang Xiaoming, Zhu Shu, Fang Yi and other assassins formed a temporary monster-killing team and were killing black corpses in an area near the woods. At this time, 7 or 8 black corpses suddenly rushed out of the woods from several directions and surrounded this temporary monster-killing team. Zhang Xiaoming found that something was wrong and immediately ran away. Zhu Shu and Fang Yi knew that they were no match for them, so they also hurriedly fled to a crowded place. As they panicked and fled, a group of more than a dozen black corpses instantly appeared behind them and rushed towards the new student's monster-killing area. "Help! Someone is going to die!" Zhang Xiaoming screamed as he ran away. "Hey, just a small monster. What's the point of mentioning it?" Yuan Qiang, who was on guard duty nearby, saw this scene and said a few ancient sayings. He then rushed towards the zombies with a spear in hand. "Coach Yuan, don't go and die," Zhang Xiaoming continued to yell. "Let me show you what a real spear ape king is. Take my piercing the clouds and breaking the sky." Yuan Qiang had already rushed to the front of the zombies and stabbed them with more than a dozen spears, creating countless silver flowers in the air, which immediately stabbed the zombies' forward momentum. After piercing the clouds and breaking the sky, the spear in Yuan Qiang's hand danced into a whirlwind, and his body turned into a ball of blue light and leaped 2 or 3 meters high, then smashed down to the ground. The blue light hit the ground, creating an energy explosion. A dozen black corpses were blown away by the energy wave and scattered everywhere. At the same time, the name of the skill he had just released appeared above Yuan Qiang's head, Thunderbolt. A black corpse was at the edge of the energy explosion zone and was not blown away. It staggered a few steps and rushed towards Yuan Qiang again. The dragon is out of the sea. Yuan Qiang's body and the spear merged into one, and the shape of a blue dragon appeared faintly, stabbing forward. The next moment, the only black corpse still standing had a big hole in its throat pierced by Yuan Qiang's spear. It had completely lost its combat power, but it was still held up by the spear in Yuan Qiang's hand, who was posing in a very cool pose, and did not fall down. The scene was instantly frozen. 666. Coach Yuan is so handsome. Am I watching a martial arts drama? More than a dozen black corpses were instantly reduced to ashes. 666 is not enough to express my admiration for Coach Yuan. Coach Yuan must be missing an accessory on his thigh. Seeing this scene, the new students couldn't help but admire it and manipulated their characters to applaud. This time, they all admired from the bottom of their hearts. instead of flattering deliberately. You have to know that it takes half a minute to a minute for several new students to deal with a black corpse together, and if they are not careful, the black corpse will scratch their armor. But Coach Yuan faced more than a dozen black corpses alone, and in less than 10 seconds, he killed them all and made them defeated. This strength is beyond their reach. While all the new students were sighing, a new student named Jin quietly sneaked over and finished killing the black corpses that Yuan Kaiang had blown away but were not dead. Then he stood together with the other new students and applauded. As long as you work hard, you can be as successful as me in the future. Yuan Kaiang put his spear back on the ground, posed and encouraged the new students. I will work hard. I will live up to Coach Yuan's high expectations. I hope Coach Yuan will give me more advice in the future. The new students of the assassin group expressed their determination to Yuan Kaiang. Chapter 78 Energy Core. Assassin Coach Yuan Kaiang had just shown off his might outside the base, but there was a bigger commotion on the other side, with the panicked shouts of the new students deafening. The members of the assassin group hurriedly followed Coach Yuan Kaiang to watch the excitement, but found that a mutant black corpse about 4 meters tall appeared in the new student hunting area outside the training base. The mutant black corpse looked like a huge black bear, tall and strong, with arms thicker than buckets, and made a loud bang, bang, bang sound when walking, which made Jin Ke think of Liu Junming holding 2 big hammers. Not to mention, Liu Junming's imitation of the sound was really similar. An ordinary black corpse staggered in the way of the mutant black corpse, and was grabbed by the mutant black corpse and thrown to a place more than 10 meters away, and then the mutant black corpse strode towards the place where more new students gathered. A new student was scared silly. Or should it be said that his character's willpower was relatively low and he was so scared that he tripped and fell to the ground without being controlled by the player. Willpower, a basic attribute, is often ignored by players, but some players have discovered when playing games that the higher the character's willpower, the lower the probability of losing control when controlling. When a character with low willpower is really in danger, he will even scream and run around uncontrollably, and will not respond to the player's various control buttons. Sometimes when a character encounters certain emergencies, he will also make various expressions or actions that the player has not chosen. For example, when the character sees the huge poultry in the breeding area for the first time, he will be stunned, frown and cover his nose when he arrives at the manure pool of the ecological plantation, and vomit when he eats unpalatable food. The character of this new student obviously has a very low willpower attribute. The moment the mutant black corpse rushed over, he was directly scared out of control. No matter how the player controls it, his character always sits on the ground and looks at the mutant black corpse that is about to pounce on him with horror, and his legs kick back instinctively, but he can't get up and run away. The mutant black corpse immediately rushed towards the new student who fell to the ground, roaring and stabbing the new student on the ground with its 2 sharp claws. At this extremely critical moment, a man holding a staff, surrounded by 7 or 8 D-level warriors wearing metal plate armor, rushed towards the mutant black corpse. The crystal on the top of the man's staff emitted a white light at the mutant black corpse. This white light was some kind of freezing spell skill, which instantly froze the mutant black corpse into an ice sculpture. Yuan Kaiang was quick-eyed and quick-handed, rushing over to drag the new student who was already scared silly in front of the mutant black corpse away from the danger zone. Several D-level warriors wearing metal plate armor and holding heavy alloy shields surrounded the mutant black corpse and used various skills to greet the mutant black corpse's body. Several D-level shooters took out their bows and arrows or crossbows, and bombarded the mutant black corpse with various long-range skills. In a few seconds, the mutant black corpse broke free from the ice sculpture state, roared, and swung its 2 claws violently, knocking the 2 tanks in front of it away 7 or 8 meters. But when it wanted to continue attacking other people, the man with the staff attacked again, switching to the skill of ice arrows to freeze it again, and its movements also turned into slow motion. It was obvious that the freezing effect of the mage's first skill was relatively strong, directly freezing the mutant black corpse into an ice sculpture, unable to move. The second skill was slightly worse than the first skill in freezing effect, but the additional damage was greater than the first skill. The two tanks that were knocked away were also very strong, although they flew 7 or 8 meters away. They turned over several times when they landed without any injury, and only the armor on their bodies lost some protection points. After getting up, they immediately rushed towards the mutant black corpse whose body movements had become slow. A magician. It's actually a magician. There are mages in the base. The new students looked at the handsome man holding a magic staff and couldn't help but envy him. His name is Yao Chengzu. He is the only magician in the base. He is the nemesis of the mutant black corpses. The mutant black corpses that appeared near the base were basically eliminated by him. This time, for your safety, the base also sent him out. Yuan Kaiying introduced to the new students. Coach Yuan, does he accept apprentices? Zhang Xiaoming had an expression of admiration to the point of dementia. Even if he accepts, he won't accept someone like you. Yuan Kaiying was furious when he thought of Zhang Xiaoming's poking, stabbing, and piercing. Why? Zhang Xiaoming had a mournful expression on his face. Needless to say, he wants to live a few more years. Yuan Kaiying answered Zhang Xiaoming. The new students around him laughed when they heard Yuan Kaiying's words. Will accepting me as an apprentice shorten my life? What's the reason? Only Zhang Xiaoming continued to be confused. With Yao Chengzu, the only magician in the base, in charge, the mutant black corpse was soon beaten to death by the siege of a group of D-level masters. When it felt that its health was running out, all the D-level masters stopped attacking it. Yao Chengzu, holding a staff, muttered something, and a thunderbolt suddenly fell from the calm sky. Although the power of the lightning was not great, the momentum was terrifying. It hit the mutant black corpse's body impartially and completely harvested its remaining health. A thick black mist escaped from the mutant black corpse and entered Yao Chengzu's body. Yao Chengzu held a staff in his hand, faced the sky, took a deep breath, and his expression seemed very satisfied. The staff who were proficient in anatomy in the base immediately gathered around and performed an on-site autopsy on the mutant black corpse. Several glowing bones and a black crystal were dissected from its body. After discovering the black crystal in the corpse, the D-level masters were very excited. It seemed that they were very interested in it. They gathered around to look at the black crystal. Everyone held it in their hands and admired it for a long time, until someone else took it away to admire it. In the end, the black crystal was forcibly taken away by the staff of the base recovery team, put into a glass column container, and then put into a metal box. After being boxed, it was sent directly back to the base. What are those glowing bones and black crystals? Zhang Xiaoming, a curious boy, asked Coach Yuan Kaiying all kinds of questions all the time. The glowing bones are the product of the energy refining and strengthening of the skeleton of the mutant black corpse. This kind of bone is an excellent material for making various weapons and potions. The official name of the black crystal is the energy core. The higher the energy level, the more valuable it is. It is a very rare treasure. Killing dozens of mutant black corpses may not yield a piece, but I didn't expect to get one today. Yuan Kaiying also had a yearning for the black crystal. Chapter 79. Not enough time. Coach Yuan, you haven't told me what the black crystal is used for. Zhang Xiaoming then asked Yuan Kaiying. I told you, it's an energy core. It has a wide range of uses in the base. It can drive the operation of rune technology equipment, can be converted into electrical energy and thermal energy, and we warriors can slowly absorb the dark energy points in it and upgrade various skills by holding it in our hands. After the energy core is identified, it can be taken to the large city level shelter and used to exchange various materials. It is one of the most important hard currencies in our world. Yuan Kaiying patiently explained to Zhang Xiaoming, and also explained to all the new students under him. I understand. It is equivalent to the spirit stone in the fairy tale novels. It can be used for cultivation and can also be used to exchange for various treasures. Zhang Xiaoming's expression of sudden enlightenment. That's about right. Yuan Kaiying nodded. After an hour and a half of hunting time, Jin Ke upgraded his 3 skills, Death Kiss, Death Dance, and Death Arc, to LV6. In today's hunting, Jin can be said to have reaped a lot and his strength has improved significantly. The large group of black corpses outside the main gate of the training base were wiped out by the new players. Some players who had tasted the sweetness of upgrading even broke away from the main group and went to the farther area outside the training base, hoping to hunt the scattered black corpses and harvest more dark energy points. Some players who were better at operation felt that they were always robbed of heads and could not get the dark energy points for the final blow. They also felt that the strength of a single black corpse was just so-so. So they simply went to a farther place to hunt the lone black corpses. Although it was slower, at least they could guarantee that they could get the dark energy points to kill the black corpses. I don't know if it was because they hunted the energy core, but the D-level strongmen who were responsible for guarding the new students looked a little excited. They gathered together and whispered to each other, and seemed to be a little absent-minded about today's newcomer hunting. It was not until 5:30 when the team was withdrawn that some people realized that the new students were too scattered, so they went around to find people, and then drove away the lone new students and asked them to return to the base before dark at 6 o'clock. "We have to hurry up, the sun will set if we are late." Yuan Qiang also counted the new students of the assassin group one by one, urging them to return to the base. "It's only 5:30, and the sun hasn't set yet. Kill for a while longer, and I'll be upgraded soon." Zhang Xiaoming awakened a skill a few days ago, but he still needs a few dark energy points to upgrade to LV4. There are still many scattered black corpses in the woods outside the main gate. It's a rare opportunity to kill monsters and earn dark energy points today. This is not a joke. Go back quickly. Don't blame me for not reminding you. After dark at 6 o'clock, the base gate will be closed and will not be opened again. If you are locked outside the gate, you will definitely die. Yuan Qiang scolded Zhang Xiaoming angrily, and then went to find other students in the assassin group. After Jin Ke heard the call and confirmed the time, he immediately ran back to the main gate of the base. For him, the safety of the character is above everything else. For a few dark energy points, if he fails to return to the training base before the sun sets, he will regret it if the character gets into trouble. Zhang Xiaoming and other players hesitated for a moment, and followed Jin Ke back to the main gate of the base. Until 5:50 p.m., players who had strayed too far from the base would occasionally return to the base under the guidance of the coaches. At 5:55 p.m., all the coaches and assistants who were looking for people returned to the base, and the new students gathered near the main gate of the base and discussed their gains today. At 5:57 p.m., the sky outside the main gate began to darken, which was a sign of the darkness falling in the wild. At 6 o'clock, the members of each group gathered together, and the coaches and assistants of each professional group began to count the number of people one by one. Assassin group, all are here. Shooter group, all are here. Tank group, all are here. Warrior group, damn, there are still 2 people missing. The assistant coach of the warrior group who had just returned shouted after counting the number of people. "Who?" The coach of the warrior group turned pale. "Luo Xiangchun and Qin Heiji." "Who has seen them? Have they come in?" The assistant instructor of the warrior group asked all the students in the warrior group. They seemed to have gone back to the dormitory to sleep early. Liu Zhu said uncertainly. "Are you sure?" The assistant instructor confirmed with Liu Zhu. Qin Heiji went back to the dormitory to sleep at around 4 o'clock. But Luo Xiangchun didn't go back. At 5:20, I saw him going further away. Another student in the warrior group reported to the assistant instructor. "That's it." "Damn," the assistant instructor cursed. "Do you want to go out and look for them?" Liu Zhu panicked and asked the assistant instructor quickly. "There's not enough time. No one is allowed to go out." The coach quickly stopped Liu Zhu. "I'll go to his room and call him." Liu Zhu in the real world remembered something and rushed out of the room and rushed to the rooms of Luo Xiangchun and Qin Heiji. Luo Xiangchun was concentrating on using his mobile phone to kill the black corpses. After more than an hour of hunting, he had mastered the skill of using the big sword in his hand to block the black corpses' attacks. As long as the operation was proper, he could kill the lone black corpse without any injury. While killing the black corpses, Luo Xiangchun habitually looked at the Okeni watch on his wrist, which was his birthday gift bought by his wife for him. It cost more than 10,000 yuan. The time on it showed 5:40, and it looked like it would take some time before dark. "Let's go back at 5:45 or 5:50. It will only take 4 or 5 minutes to run back to the base from here. With a dozen more dark energy points, his blunt attack skill can be upgraded to LV5. Luo Zhang obviously didn't notice that the second hand of his watch, which he had used for less than 2 years, was actually stopped at this time. The exact time now is 5:55 p.m. Hunting down the lone black corpse made Luo Zhang quite far away from other players. He did not notice that the coach and assistant were calling players back to the base near the main gate of the base. In addition, the time on his watch was wrong and his skill upgrade was in sight. He killed 2 more lone black corpses in a row and successfully upgraded his attack skill blunt attack to level 5. He then quickly ran back to the main gate of the base. It was extremely quiet outside the main gate of the base. There was no one in sight. The sky suddenly darkened. At this time, in the villa of the Wheelin Home community, the doors of Luo Zhang and Qin Heiji's rooms were slammed loudly. "Who is it? So rude?" Qin Heiji, who was sleeping in the same dormitory as Luo Zhang and was woken up, cursed. Chapter 80 Signal Interruption. Qin Heiji was unlucky today. He killed monsters for more than 10 minutes but didn't get any energy points. In addition, he stayed in the bar with friends and drank until too late last night. He was so sleepy that he couldn't open his eyes when killing monsters. He simply controlled the character to return to the base dormitory in advance. He also fell asleep in the bed in the real world, but was woken up by the knock on the door. Seeing that Luo Zhang was busy and didn't go to open the door, Qin Heiji just wanted to go to the bathroom to pee, so he lazily got up and walked over to open the door that was slammed loudly, and then quickly got into the bathroom next to the door. "Luo Zhang, the base gate will be closed soon. Go back quickly." Liu Zhu rushed in and shouted to Luo Zhang. Zhu Shu, Yu Gang, Ni Yu, Jin Ke and others knew that Luo Zhang did not return on time and rushed out of the room one after another. Liu Zhu knocked on the door and knocked on Luo Zhang with QQ, but it was obvious that Luo Zhang did not hang up QQ in the background and did not receive Liu Zhu's message. "Is the mountain gate going to close? There are still more than 10 minutes left." Luo Zhang looked at his watch again. His face changed drastically. The watch his wife gave him stopped at this critical moment. It stopped at 5:40 in the afternoon. A few months ago, this watch prevented him from being promoted to section chief. A few months later, this watch stopped again inexplicably, causing him to not return to the base at the planned time. Is this watch cursed? Fuck. Luo Zhang controlled the character to continue running towards the main gate of the base. The sky became darker, but soon the main gate appeared in his character's field of vision, and the mountain gate was still wide open. The coach, assistant and several students of the warrior group were standing inside the gate, looking at him and waving their hands. He only needed to run a few dozen meters to return to the training base. Just when Luo Zhang ran to within 7 or 8 meters of the main gate, the sky became even darker, and a black fog descended from the sky and was about to cover the entire earth. The main gate of the training base was controlled by the base mastermind, and the heavy alloy door automatically fell down, locking Luo Zhang outside the door. The time was now 5:59. Hey, it's not 6 o'clock yet. I'm still outside. Open the door. Luo Zhang's character finally ran to the mountain gate and waved at the infrared camera on the door. The players inside the mountain gate could clearly see Luo Zhang's figure outside the mountain gate on the monitoring screen. It suddenly became very dark outside the mountain gate. From the monitoring screen, it can be seen that the back of Luo Zhang has become blurred and nothing can be seen clearly. At a certain moment, Luo Zhang's character, who was waving his hands, suddenly turned around and looked behind him without being controlled. Then he turned around with an extremely terrified expression and continued to slap the heavy alloy door desperately. These were all spontaneous actions of the character, and Luo Zhang did not operate at all. The surveillance screen shook, and then there was the extremely shrill scream of Luo Zhang's character. Then, the signal was interrupted. The reason for the signal interruption was that the base had forcibly shut down all the cameras outside the base. Fuck. The moment the door closed, the screen of Luo Zhang's mobile phone suddenly went black, and then he heard his character screaming a few times on the phone, and then the entire phone screen turned blood red, and a few big words appeared. "You are dead." What's going on? Obviously, Luo Zhang-chun looked at the Okeni watch on his wrist again, which his wife spent more than 10,000 yuan to buy him as a birthday gift, and found that the time on it was still 5:40 p.m., and it had indeed stopped. Exit the game, and the time on the phone was already 6:01. Luo Zhang-chun unwillingly logged into the game again and wanted to re-register an account, but as soon as he opened the game, the blood-red "You are dead" screen appeared on the phone screen, not giving him a chance to re-register. "What's the situation?" Zhu Shu walked over and asked Luo Zhang-chun. "He's dead, maybe." "I need to change my phone to register an account again." Luo Zhang-chun lit a cigarette and sat there thinking, he couldn't lose this job. He could earn more than 9,000 yuan a month, and his wife and children at home were counting on his salary. He was going to be promoted to section chief, with a bright future, but he was cheated by a villain and fell into the trough of his life. He unexpectedly got a basic salary of 9,000 yuan after entering the studio, and his salary would increase as long as he worked hard. He originally thought he could turn things around, but he never thought that his greed for a moment, coupled with the fact that his watch happened to break at that time, made the character he worked hard to cultivate disappear just like that, which was really unacceptable. "Is the darkness in the wild so fierce?" "It was just a moment." Zhu Shu sighed. Yu Gang, who came with Zhu Shu, was slightly pale at this time. He seemed to want to say something, but hesitated for a moment and said nothing. Jin Ke didn't say anything either. He knew that Luo Zhang-chun had been working hard since he entered the studio, and the death of the character should be a heavy blow to him. According to the studio's rules, once a character dies, the player automatically terminates the contract with the studio, and the character is bound to the player, so it is probably impossible to re-register, right? After a while, the logistics supervisor Liu Zioxi came over. Director Chen asked Tu to put the characters in place and gather in the hall downstairs for a meeting. Liu Zioxi stood at the door and notified everyone. "What's the matter?" Qin Heiji came out of the bathroom and asked Liu Zioxi lazily. He finished the field mission of the base ahead of time and had been sleeping in bed. He didn't know that Luo Zhang-chun's character had died. "I don't know either. I'm only responsible for notifying," Liu Zioxi replied to Qin Heiji, then walked back to the corridor and continued to knock on other doors. "Zioxi, I find that your attitude towards me is very wrong." Qin Heiji walked outside the door and teased Liu Zioxi. "Why is it wrong?" Liu Zioxi turned around. "Every time I talk to you, Director Chen, and Jin Ke, you are always very gentle. But when you talk to me, you are very cold and stiff. I feel like you are discriminating against me." Qin Heiji looked at Liu Zioxi with a playful smile. "Don't delay my work," Liu Zioxi replied to Qin Heiji very stiffly, and then ignored him. "Oh my god, Zioxi is really discriminating against me." Qin Heiji had a grief-stricken expression on his face. In the room, Luo Zhang-chun frowned and smoked one cigarette after another. Others sat or stood and looked at Luo Zhang-chun, and no one spoke. "What happened?" Lao, are you dead?" Qin Heiji saw the screen of Luo Zhang-chun's mobile phone on the bed, and then he realized that something was wrong. Chapter 81 A Profound Lesson. At 6:30 in the evening, in the lobby on the first floor of Villa 16 in the Wheel and Home community, several long sofas in the middle of the lobby were filled with more than a dozen people. "Luo Zhang-chun, I received a notice that your character died." Chen Wei, a mentor sitting on a single sofa, went straight to the point. "Yes, I'm going to register another account." Luo Zhang-chun looked frustrated. "It's useless. The studio has a rule that if the character dies, the contract with the studio will be automatically terminated." Chen Wei interrupted Luo Zhang-chun. His tone was very regretful. Director Chen, I didn't violate the studio's rules on purpose. It was my watch that was broken." "Damn, it just stopped at 5:40. I was killing wild monsters alone at the time, and I could upgrade my skills by 1 level if I killed 2 more wild monsters at the time, and I didn't notice that everyone else had gone back. When I felt something was wrong and rushed back, it was only 5:59, but they locked me out." Luo Zhang-chun looked very aggrieved. What happened after you were locked out? Chen Wei asked Luo Xiangchun. Everyone else also looked at Luo Xiangchun. Every player was curious about the mysterious darkness of the night. My phone screen went black. It was completely black. I could only hear my character's screams. Then a blood red screen appeared, saying you are dead. Now when I log into the game, this interface appears. Luo Xiangchun put the phone with a blood red screen on the coffee table in front of him. How long did it take for the screen to go from completely black to the death screen? Chen Wei asked Luo Xiangchun another question. 2 seconds? 3 seconds? I don't remember, but it was very short anyway. Director Chen, I didn't violate the rules on purpose. You can see that I usually work very hard. Please help me talk to the studio leader. Let me register another account and start over. I will be more careful this time. Luo Xiangchun continued to talk to Chen Wei. Old Luo is really hard-working. Give him another chance. Liu Zhu and others also helped Luo Xiangchun to beg for mercy. They all knew that Luo Xiangchun valued this job very much and worked so hard for his family. If I were to make this decision, I would definitely protect you and give you another chance. I always think you are a very good employee. But, unfortunately, although I am your mentor and a director, I have no decision-making power in these matters. Many things are just a role of passing on information. Chen Wei shook his head helplessly. Is there really no way out? Isn't it just registering a new account? I have many QQ accounts. By the way, I can also register with WeChat, right? Luo Xiangchun did not give up. No. Chen Wei still shook his head. Fuck. Luo Xiangchun cursed in annoyance. He took out a lighter and lit a cigarette. Liu Zioxi wanted to speak up to stop him, but she didn't say anything after a while. After a while, she took an ashtray and placed it in front of Luo Xiangchun. Lao, a serious person like you will definitely succeed no matter what job you do. Don't be too sad. Liu Zhu comforted Luo Xiangchun beside him. She and Luo Xiangchun work in the same breeding area, and both of them have changed their jobs to warriors. They chat a lot in the game on weekdays. She thinks Luo Xiangchun is a good man who cares about his family and is responsible, so she has a good impression of him. The two can be considered good friends. No, I'm a very failed person. No matter what I do, I always mess it up. My life is such a failure. Luo Xiangchun's eyes were red, and it was obvious that he was very unwilling. Qin Heiji, who lived in the same dormitory with him, was lazy. His character returned to the dormitory early and he slept on the bed. As a result, nothing happened. On the contrary, he worked so hard, but ended up like this. It's so unfair. Today's incident with Luo Xiangchun is largely a matter of responsibility on the part of the base. They organized so many new recruits to go out, and they wasted a lot of time outside because they encountered the corpse brain lord. Since they arranged for the new recruits to hunt monsters, they should have set up a monster killing area and a safety cordon to prevent the new recruits from getting lost. What was the result? It was a mess. However, discipline is discipline. Even if the base's arrangements are wrong, we must be aware of this in our hearts. Not to mention 5:40, when the time passes 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Those on field missions must immediately abandon even the tasks that are about to be completed and return to the base. If you are near the base, you must return after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, not 5:30, because you don't know what will happen in the next hour, and whether you will be delayed by some unexpected events. The death of Luo Xiangchun's character is a profound lesson for each of our employees. I hope everyone can learn from it. In addition, based on Luo Xiangchun's performance during this period, I will apply for a severance pay for him from the studio, hoping to compensate him. Today's meeting ends here. Chen Wei looked unhappy and didn't want to say too much. After finishing his words, he stood up and left the hall, heading for the stairs. Luo Xiangchun was very good at building relationships. Most of the employees in the hall had dealt with him more or less on weekdays. Even Jin Ke, who was very homely, had chatted with him a few times. At this time, they all spoke to comfort Luo Xiangchun. Liu Zhu offered to treat Luo Xiangchun to a drink. Qin Heiji, Dao Beiqing, Zhu Shu, Ni Yu, and Yu Gang all offered to go together. I'll help you look after Xue'er. You can go with them. Don't stay in your room all the time. If you're worried about Xue'er, I'll send you a video at any time. Liu Zioxi saw that Jin Ke was a little hesitant, so she came over and whispered a few words to him. Thank you for your trouble. After such a long time of contact, Jin Ke was also relieved to hand Xue'er over to Liu Zioxi. No trouble. I finally have time to be alone with Xue'er. I'm so happy. Liu Zioxi made a face at Jin Ke. Zioxi, you are having an affair with a younger man. Be careful or I will report you to Director Chen. Qin Heiji saw Liu Zioxi and Jin Ke talking intimately, and couldn't help but tease him a few more times. Get lost. Liu Zioxi replied to Qin Heiji with one word. Am I so unpopular? Qin Heiji pretended to look very aggrieved. Can you restrain yourself at this time? Liu Zhu reached out and nailed Qin Heiji on the head. Luo Zhang was smoking in distress over there, and Qin Heiji was joking with Liu Zioxi, which was really inappropriate. Don't be too sad, Lao, a handsome man like you, where can you find a good job? A tree that is moved away dies, but a person who moves away lives. Maybe the next time I see you, you will be the president of a multinational company. Qin Heiji came over and patted Luo Zhang on the shoulder. Brother is right. Let's go. Let's drink. Luo Zhang pressed the cigarette butt hard into the ashtray in front of him, and then stood up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82 The Last Subway. Thanks to A2324445 for the 50,000 starting coins reward. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Huang City, Parrot Bar. It's getting late. I'm going home to reunite with my wife and children. Thank you all. I've been working in the studio for a while, and the happiest thing is to meet you all. Even if you're not in the studio anymore, please keep in touch and visit more often. Luo Zhang stood up after checking the time on his phone, and said goodbye to Qin Heiji, Liu Zhu, Zhu Shu, Jin Ke, Yu Gang, Ni Yu, Dao Baking and others who were drinking with him. You drank half a bottle of white wine by yourself. Are you okay? I'll call a car to take you home. Zhu Shu looked very worried. Ha 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 ha. You underestimate us civil servants too much. It's normal to drink 1 or 2 bottles of white wine with others on weekdays. Half a bottle of white wine is not even the beginning for us. Do you think I'm drunk now? I'm more sober than any of you here. Luo Zhang shook his head and walked a few steps to the side. Sure enough, even though he drank half a caddy of liquor, Luo Zhang still walked steadily, not looking drunk at all. Seeing that Luo Zhang's demeanor and behavior were normal, everyone did not insist. After exchanging a few polite words at the door of the bar, they parted ways with Luo Zhang. Luo Zhang walked silently along the dark street for 2 stops and came to the subway station opposite the Marriott nightclub. 2 men wearing helmets rode on an electric motorcycle and looked at Luo Zhang passing by. Luo Zhang, who was thinking about his own things, did not notice the 2 men on the electric motorcycle. When he passed a dark alley, he felt a little uncomfortable in his stomach, so he walked in and reached at the trash can by the wall for a long time before he stood up by the wall. He used to have a good alcohol tolerance, and a caddy of liquor was not a problem. I didn't expect that half a caddy of liquor would make me almost vomit tonight. Fortunately, it was just retching, and nothing came out. His head was a little dizzy, and Luo Zhang couldn't help but lie down against the wall. After lying for a while, his tears suddenly came down, and then he started crying. As a man, he shouldered the burden of the family. He was about to be promoted to section chief. When his career was about to take off, he was framed by a villain, and his years of hard work went to waste. He didn't expect that he would fail even when playing a game in the studio. Luo Zhang still remembers that when he left home, he lied to his wife Lillian, said that he had found a company management job in another place with a monthly salary of 9,000 yuan, high commissions and bonuses, and a promising future. His wife Lily was very happy for him at the time and hoped that he would succeed this time and free the family from the 3 mountains of house slaves, child slaves, and car slaves. After Luo Zhang arrived at the villa, because the meals were free, He rarely spent money, except for secretly saving some money to buy a birthday gift for his son. All the money was sent back home. His wife Lily often praised him on the phone as a good man and her pride, and encouraged him to work hard and strive to take his career to the next level. He also promised his wife that before he turned 35, he would make his family live a good life, pay off all loans, replace the family car worth more than 100,000 yuan with a car worth at least 600,000 yuan, and not let his wife's relatives and friends look down on them. How could he face his wife's expectant eyes when he suddenly lost his job and went back? After crying for a while, Luo Ye took out the latest iPhone X mobile phone that his wife gave him before leaving, which was the phone he installed the mobile game on, and opened the video shot in it and played it. It was a video that his wife had recorded with Luo Ye's mobile phone at home. In the video, Luo Ye was playing with a small ball with his son Dong Dong. Dong Dong threw the small ball into a simple basket. Luo Ye pretended to reach out to block it. Dong Dong very bravely stuffed the ball into the basket. Luo Ye pretended to be very depressed, and then Dong Dong chuckled. Hearing Dong Dong's happy laughter, Luo Ye's eyes were a little wet again. A burst of thunder sounded unexpectedly in the sky. Luo Ye was startled and almost dropped his phone to the ground. Some fine raindrops were floating down from the sky. It was going to rain, so I had to go home quickly. Luo Ye was about to put away his phone and take the subway. After walking 2 steps, he felt like vomiting again, so he walked back to the dark alley and reached into the trash can again. But still nothing came out. At this moment, his cell phone rang. Luo Ye, who was about to answer the phone, suddenly felt a sharp pain in the back of his head, as if he was hit by a hammer. The pain made him sweat all over his body and he almost fell into the trash can in front of him. Fortunately, after a sharp pain, the pain in his head was not so severe. In addition to crying for a while, Luo Ye's mood improved a little. The raindrops in the sky began to turn into raindrops. The heavy rain was about to pour. Luo Ye hurriedly ran out of the dark alley and ran quickly to the subway station on the street next to him. It would cost at least more than 20 yuan to take a taxi back from here. Letting his wife drive over to pick him up, he felt very embarrassed. He had always lied to his wife that he was working in another city. The most important thing is that he would have to spend more money on gasoline, right? So he decided to take the subway back, which would only cost him 3 yuan at most. Without a job, he would have to save money. In a month, his son Dong Dong would be turning 6. Luo Ye had saved 1,000 yuan. With another 2,000 yuan, he could buy his son a remote-controlled Autobot toy that he had seen a few months ago as a birthday gift. Now it seemed that he had to find another way to get the 2,000 yuan. Without a source of income, it was not appropriate to buy his son such an expensive birthday gift. But Luo Ye did not want to see his son Dong Dong's disappointed look. If he had not lost his job due to problems with his character, it would have been easy for him to save enough money to buy toys. But now it was a bit troublesome. The road nearby was called Qingshan Second Road, so this station was called Qingshan Second Road Subway Station. Huang City Subway Line 3 passed through here, and it was also the nearest subway station to the Blue Home community. The fastest and most economical way for Luo Ye to go home from the Blue Home community was to take subway line 3 to Qingshan Second Road. After taking the escalator down to the subway station and fixing his appearance in front of the bathroom mirror, Luo Ye went over to buy coins and went to the subway security check. I don't know if it was because it was too late, but there was only one security inspector at the entrance. Seeing Luo Ye coming over, he told him that there was only one subway train left and asked him to hurry up. Luo Ye didn't have anything to check, so he rushed over to put in the coins and took the escalator down to the subway station platform below. It seems to be 10:30 p.m. now, right? There is indeed only one subway train left. Chapter 83 Subway Driver. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for the 50,000 starting coins. This subway station is located in a very remote place. It was late, so there were few people waiting for the train in the subway station. Luo Zhang was only thinking about his own thoughts and didn't pay much attention to other people in the subway station. Luo Zhang had just stood on the platform when the last subway train came roaring, then slowed down and stopped steadily on the platform. Luo Zhang walked into the subway. There were not many people in the entire subway car, and many seats were empty. After Luo Zhang entered, he found a place to sit down and sigh deeply. It takes more than 10 subway stops from here to go home, and it will take at least half an hour. Luo Zhang, who drank the wine but didn't vomit, felt a little dizzy at this time. Considering that the subway ride would take a long time, he simply leaned on the seat and fell asleep. I don't know how long it took. It should be a long time. Luo Zhang felt like he had a very long nightmare and suddenly woke up from the dream. After waking up, Luo Zhang subconsciously looked at the station sign beside the subway door, and was surprised to find that the subway was still at the station where he started. He hadn't even gone one stop, and there were still more than 10 stops to his home. Did he only sleep for half a minute just now? It doesn't seem like it. Luo Zhang subconsciously looked at the watch on his wrist. He obviously forgot that the watch had stopped. After taking a look at his wrist, Luo Zhang couldn't help but be shocked. The watch was gone. Luo Zhang couldn't help but get a little anxious. This was the birthday gift his wife bought him. He quickly searched his pockets all over his body, and found that not only his watch, but also his new iPhone X mobile phone, wallet, and all his belongings were gone. Did you fall asleep and encounter a thief? Was he searched? It's impossible that you didn't feel anything at all. Drinking really messes things up. This watch, mobile phone, and wallet are all lost, which is troublesome, especially the watch worth 15,000 yuan that his wife gave him as a birthday gift, and the iPhone X mobile phone that his wife bought for him when he left home. If his wife knew that he had lost these two valuable items, she would definitely scold him to death. What should I do? Call the police quickly. There should be surveillance equipment in the subway car, right? How to call the police without a mobile phone? After looking around the subway car, Luo Zhang felt something strange. Soon Luo Zhang found out what was weird. The entire subway car was empty. No one. No way. I remember when I got on, there were several people in the car. It felt like I walked for a long time, but I didn't get through a single stop. There were still several people sitting when I got on the train, but now there is no one. This must be wrong. Is there anyone? Luo Zhang walked forward along the subway car, walking from car to car, but all the cars were empty. Did the other passengers get off? But the subway never stopped. How did the other passengers get off? Looking at the electronic advertising screen that kept shaking outside the window, Luo Zhang felt dizzy. After thinking for a while, he quickly walked towards the front of the subway. Even if there are no passengers in the subway, there should be a driver, right? The subway has a total of 6 carriages. Luo Zhang got on the train in the second-to-last carriage. He had just walked through 3 carriages. After walking through another carriage, he came to the front of the train. The cockpit of the subway is separated from the carriages by an iron door. There are glass windows on the iron door, but they are painted, so the passengers in the carriage cannot see the scene in the cockpit. Is there anyone? Hello, hello, is there anyone? Luo Zhang slapped the door of the subway cockpit hard, trying to attract the attention of the driver. There was no response in the cockpit of the front of the train. Luo Zhang looked carefully at the glass window of the cockpit iron door and found that the paint on the corners of the glass window was not very even. If he put his eyes close, he should be able to see the scene in the cockpit through the unpainted areas. Luo Zhang leaned in and took a closer look. He could see the scene in the cockpit from the unpainted edge of the glass, but the light in the cockpit was too dim and he could not see clearly. Luo Zhang rubbed his eyes and leaned in again. He opened his eyes wide and looked through the glass again. He didn't know if it was because his eyes had adapted to the light in the cockpit, but this time he could finally see more clearly. There was no one in the driver's seat. What's going on? There's no one in the subway car, and no one is driving the subway. Did I get on the wrong subway and get on an automatic subway back to the factory? That's not right. Look at the platform on the door. It hasn't left the Kingshan Second Road station where I got on the train. How much time has passed? Or hasn't it reached the next stop yet? A dark shadow swayed in the cockpit. Luo Chun quickly opened his eyes wide and tried to see the situation inside through the edge of the glass to see if he could contact the subway driver and stop the subway so that he could go down and find a place to call the police to help him catch the thief who stole his watch, mobile phone, and wallet. Luo Chun couldn't see clearly, so he opened his mouth and blew a breath towards the edge of the glass window, wiped it with his hand, and then put his eyes closer. This time he finally saw clearly. The person inside also looked at him, as if he knew he was peeking at the edge of the glass. Although the cockpit was very dark, Luo Chun still saw the appearance of the person inside clearly. He looked very familiar, as if he had seen him somewhere, but he couldn't remember who it was for a while. Hey, can you hear me? I want to call the police. Luo Chun slapped the window glass and shouted loudly inside, but the person inside seemed to disappear suddenly. Luo Chun rubbed his eyes and looked at the edge of the glass again. What he didn't expect this time was that a blood-red eye on the other side of the glass was looking at him through the edge of the glass window. Ah! Luo Chun screamed in surprise, took a few steps back, and fell on the ground of the subway car. After falling down, Luo Chun subconsciously crawled back a few steps, then stood up and walked away, then looked towards the cockpit with a look of fear and confusion. Suddenly, a woman's desperate and shrill cry came from a car behind him, which was very creepy in the empty subway car. Luo Chun's heart was pounding, and after a moment, he forced himself to calm down. The crying meant that there were people in the car, so he might as well go over and see what was going on. Luo Chun walked back from car to car, and as he was walking, a small ball bounced over. Bang, 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 bang. Luo Chun subconsciously reached out and grabbed the ball, and when he took it in his hand and looked at it, he found it familiar, as if it was the small ball that his son Dong often played with. Chapter 84. Did you see me? How did the little ball get into the subway car? Dong. Luo Chun felt something was wrong and quickly ran to the last car where the little ball bounced. There was no Dong in the last car, but there was a woman who was sitting on the seat with her knees bent and crying sadly. Lily? Luo Chun looked at the woman on the seat in surprise. It was his wife Lily. The woman didn't look up, as if she didn't hear Luo Chun calling her, but just continued crying. Lily, why are you here? Luo Chun squatted down and reached out to touch the woman's shoulder. The subway suddenly stopped. Luo Chun stumbled and almost fell. He screamed, and then woke up from his seat. The subway arrived at the People's Hospital Station. The People's Hospital Station is about 4 stops away from Kingshan Second Road Station. It seems that the subway did not stop there. Luo Chun was breathing heavily and looked around subconsciously. There were a few passengers in the car. Some were playing with their phones, some were dozing off. Everything seemed normal. Luo Chun sighed. It seemed that he had just had a nightmare. He must be thinking about his wife and son, and he wanted to go home quickly. The subway should run faster. Get home quickly. When a man is hurt in the outside world, home is the best place to heal. If you fail in your career again and again, you may be abandoned by everyone, but your family will never leave. For your family, you must cheer up. You can find another job if you lose it. It's no big deal. Luo Chun tried to encourage himself, but soon he found that something was wrong. The subway window looked messy, as if something happened. Luo Chun quickly leaned to the subway window and looked outside. After seeing what happened, Luo Chun was even more confused. Where did the subway stop? Is it the People's Hospital Station? But why is the operating room of the People's Hospital outside the window? The door of the operating room was suddenly pushed open, and several doctors and nurses rushed over quickly with emergency beds, oxygen supply, injection, chest compression, electric shock, all kinds of shouting. The subway suddenly started and drove for a while and stopped again. This time it stopped in the corridor outside the operating room. A familiar figure was sitting on a chair by the corridor crying desperately and shrill. I don't know where the sound of lightning and thunder came from, and there was the sound of rain flowing down the window glass, but Luo Chun could not see the lightning and thunder. nor the heavy rain. Lily, Lily. Luo Chun slapped the window of the subway car and shouted to his wife. His father-in-law and mother-in-law came over and comforted his wife on the chair with a sad look. Zhu Shu, Yu Gang, Liu Zhu, Jin Ke, Qin Heiji, Dao Beiqing, Niu and other employees familiar with him in the villa were also standing in the corridor. They were whispering about something nervously. What happened? Why are they with Lily? Why is Lily crying? Luo Chun was confused. The subway started again and stopped after running for a while. This time, it stopped next to the operating room. All the doctors and nurses gave up their rescue. The life monitor connected to the patient on the bed turned into a straight line. When the doctors and nurses walked away, Luo Chun finally saw the patient on the bed clearly. It was him. What's going on? Hey, what's going on? Who is that person? Am I not here? Luo Chun punched the window of the subway with his fists, but the doctors and nurses in the operating room outside the window did not respond. The subway started again and stopped after running for a while. This time, it stopped in the corridor outside the operating room. 2 policemen came over, and the father-in-law and mother-in-law hurried forward. Zhu Shu, Yu Gang, Liu Zhu, Jin Ke, Qin Heiji, Dao Beiqing, Niu and others also came over. Lily, the wife who had stopped crying and looked pale, stood up and walked towards the police. Preliminary judgment is that this is a robbery and murder case. The victim. Your husband was hit on the back of the head with a hammer from behind and fell unconscious. The criminals took away the victim's watch, mobile phone, wallet and other valuables. We have filed a case. The nearby cameras should be able to capture some useful clues. We are not convenient to disclose more details of the case. Colleagues in the bureau are retrieving relevant videos and there should be results soon. The police said a few words to the father-in-law and Lily. We must catch the criminals, bring them to justice, the father-in-law said with his fists clenched and his whole body trembling. But his wife Lily suddenly fainted on the ground, and the father-in-law and mother-in-law cried and helped her up. My condolences. The police's voice became lower and lower and more vague. Hey, I'm here. I'm not dead. Hey, what are you doing? Luo Chun slapped the window glass of the subway hard, but no one noticed this side. Lily, I'm here. I'm not dead. I'm here. Luo Chun continued to bang on the subway window. Finally, someone looked over here with a puzzled look on his face. It was Jin Ke. Hey, did you see me? Did you see me? Luo Chun continued to bang on the subway window as if he had grabbed a life-saving straw, shouting loudly to Jin Ke. Jin Ke seemed to see something, and he raised his foot and walked towards the window. It's me. Did you see me? I'm in the subway. I'm not dead. Luo Chun continued to bang on the window glass and shouted excitedly. Jin Ke reached out and touched the window glass, and seemed to be trying to look outside the window glass, with a confused look on his face. Did you see me? Did you see me? Luo Chun continued to shout. After a while, he seemed to remember something. He quickly blew air on the subway window with his mouth, and then quickly wrote a few words on the window glass. I am Luo Chun. I am in the subway. Jin Ke showed a very shocked expression. When he was about to say something, the subway started again. This time, it did not stop after starting, and the speed was getting faster and faster. Hey, Luo Chun watched everything outside the window disappear without a trace. When he turned around, he found that the few passengers in the subway were looking at him together. Their expressions were very strange, their faces were very pale, and their 7 orifices seemed to be bleeding. It's time to go, a low voice appeared in the subway car. Then the lights in the subway car went out one by one. The subway drove into the tunnel ahead at high speed. The surroundings became pitch black. It was pitch black. Help! Luo Chun cried miserably in the darkness. Chapter 85 A Life or Death Decision. 1 hour ago, in front of the Parrot Bar, Liu Zhu, Jin Ke, Qin Heiji, Dao Beiqing, Niu and others watched Luo Chun disappear around the corner. When they were about to return to the villa, they were stopped by Yu Gang and Zhu Shu. It just so happens that everyone is out today. I have something to talk to you about. We have requested a private room upstairs in the Marriott nightclub 2 streets away. Let's go up and sit together. It won't take up too much time. By the way, don't tell anyone on the phone. especially director Chen and Zhao Zai, about our gathering at the Marriott. Zhu Shu said to everyone while looking around, "The game is still open on your phone. Before entering the private room later, settle your character in the dormitory and sleep, and temporarily quit the game. This is very important." Yu Gang added a few words. "What's the matter? Why are you making it so mysterious?" Liu Zhu pouted. "You'll know when you go to the Marriott." Yu Gang and Zhu Shu urged everyone. Tonight, everyone will drink with Luo Ye. They have already arranged their roles and asked for leave from their mentor Chen Wei. Jin Ke temporarily handed Xue'er to Liu Zioxi to help. He can always learn about Xue'er's situation through QQ video, so he doesn't have to worry too much. So everyone followed Yu Gang and Zhu Shu to the Marriott nightclub 2 streets away. Marriott nightclub is located opposite the Kingshan 2nd Road subway station. It is one of the largest nightclubs in Huang City, providing a nightlife for people from all walks of life in Huang City. A geek like Jin Ke had never been to a bar when he was in Yunfeng City before, let alone a place like a nightclub. In his impression, bars and nightclubs are places with relatively chaotic public security, and it is easy to have fights. For their own safety and to avoid getting into trouble, of course they have to stay away from them. Tonight, I followed everyone to the Marriott nightclub. It felt that in addition to being very lively, it didn't seem as chaotic as imagined. Zhu Shu is a rich second generation. Tonight, he will pay for the drinks and the nightclub rooms, but tonight he obviously didn't bring everyone to the nightclub to play. After entering the private room that had been reserved in advance, Yu Gang drove the waiter out and locked the door of the private room. "What do you two want to do in secret?" Liu Zhu asked the two of them in a somewhat strange way. "Have you quit the game?" Yu Gang confirmed with everyone in a serious manner. I quit a long time ago, when I went out to drink with Luo Ye. I put the character to sleep and then quit the game. If you have something to say, say it quickly. Don't keep us on suspense." Everyone answered Yu Gang and urged him a few times. "You have all been in the studio for a while, right? Have you found that this game is different from other games?" Yu Gang started the topic of tonight, become stronger. Director Chen's explanation last time was really far-fetched. He said that the restaurant's food and the ability to exercise by swiping your fingers on the screen were simply an insult to intelligence. Kinheiji spoke. "Indeed, my experience is the most obvious. I have never exercised at all. I eat and drink a lot every day, but I have lost more than 30 pounds and started to have muscles." Niu also spoke. Of course, Jin Ke also discovered these strange things, but he had more secrets than others, so he didn't want to get too involved in this topic. He just listened to them quietly. "It seems that you have all discovered that everything in the game can affect us in the real world. However, this impact is not limited to this. It is more serious than you think. Or more terrifying. If I guess correctly, something terrible may happen tonight." Yu Gang's expression became more serious. "If you have something to say, say it quickly." "What did you find?" Liu Zhu urged Yu Gang. "Who of you still remember Luo Ye?" Yu Gang asked everyone. "The third-rate game anchor who resigned with you?" Liu Zhu still had some impression of Luo Ye, and the others nodded. After he resigned, his character in the game was turned into an NPC by his mentor Chen Wei, and he went to work as a worker in the vegetable planting area of the ecological park. I have some friendship with him, and I am a nostalgic person, so I often go to the vegetable planting area to see him and tell him some troubles. He occasionally replies to me. Although it is not Luo Ye who is operating, it is still Luo Ye's voice. Yu Gang continued. "Voice capture simulation technology? It is not difficult to implement this technology in the game," Kinheiji guessed. "If things were that simple." Yu Gang smiled bitterly. "What happened?" Liu Zhu looked very curious. "Luo Ye and I exchanged cell phone numbers. One time I called him, but his family answered the phone. After asking, I learned that Luo Ye was in trouble. He killed someone, and then was diagnosed with a serious mental illness and was detained in a mental hospital. I know that although he is lazy, he is not a violent person. I was a little surprised by his experience, so I learned about his whereabouts through an acquaintance and visited him once in the mental hospital, but he didn't recognize me anymore. What's more terrifying is, when I faced him, He was no longer like a normal person. He was extremely indifferent and his eyes looked very empty. It felt to me that his soul was no longer in his body, Yu Gang continued. In other words, after he resigned from the studio and his character in the game was transformed into an NPC by the studio, something happened to him in the real world. He killed someone and scared himself silly? Kinheiji interrupted. Yes, he was in trouble, but things are not as simple as you think. What do you want to say? Everyone urged Yu Gang. I told you, his soul is no longer in his body. Compared to him in the real world, he in the game world is more like his original self. Yu Gang weighed his words. You don't think his soul has moved from his body to the game character, do you? Haha. Yuzu was about to laugh, but stopped when she saw Yu Gang's extremely serious expression. Of course I don't believe such a ridiculous thing, but a few days ago, when I went to the ecological planting area to visit NPC Luo, I found something that made me unable to remain silent any longer. I must tell you about it, and then all of us will make an important decision together, a decision that concerns the life and death of all of us. Yu Gang's body trembled a little when he said this. What did you find? Everyone looked at Yu Gang together, and after finding that he didn't look like he was joking, everyone's expression became serious. Chapter 86. Verify one thing. Let me introduce first. In the ecological park, Luo is only responsible for growing two kinds of vegetables. One is Chinese cabbage and the other is red cabbage. In the past month, Luo has planted dozens of acres of vegetable fields, and there is a large area where he has planted with great effort. That day I was standing by the vegetable field and talking to Luo. I don't know why, but I felt that he could understand what I said, and he even shed tears. But he denied it and asked me not to disturb his work and drove me away as before. I was originally going to leave, but after seeing the vegetable fields he planted, I felt a little confused, so I climbed to the base of the nearby supporting pillar and took a screenshot of the vegetable fields below with my mobile phone. I took screenshots of all the vegetable fields planted by Luo and numbered them. After finishing all the screenshots, I took my phone home, transferred it to my home computer, and used mapping software to perform keystone correction and stitching on these screenshots. Then, I got a complete large picture, a complete bird's eye view of the dozens of acres of land planted by Luo, and also a message for help that Luo had been trying to convey to me in some way after becoming an NPC. Yu Gang looked at Zushu beside him. Zushu took out an iPad and placed it in the middle of the table, showing everyone the picture that Yu Gang had stitched together. After seeing the picture in the iPad, everyone gasped. A burst of thunder just happened to sound at this time, when everyone in the private room was extremely quiet and extremely shocked, and several people screamed in fear. Zushu quickly stood up and walked over to close the window of the private room. Is this picture real? Baking looked unconvinced. Whether it is true or not, you can go to the ecological park and climb up the base of the pillar to see for yourself. Of course, the premise is that the system has not discovered it and has not destroyed the vegetable field. Yu Gang answered Kinheiji. I didn't believe it at first, but after hearing what Yu Gang said, I went with Fatty and I can prove that these pictures are real. There is no fakery, and it is indeed the message that Luo is trying to convey to Yu Gang. The fat man in Zushu's mouth refers to Yu. Everyone was silent again. The picture in the iPad was a screenshot of all the vegetable plots planted by Luo. In the ecological park, NPC Luo is only responsible for planting two kinds of vegetables. One is cabbage and the other is red cabbage moss. As an NPC, his only autonomy is probably to decide which pit to plant cabbage and which pit to plant red cabbage moss. Under normal circumstances, workers should plant cabbage in one plot and red cabbage moss in another, but NPC Luo did not do so. He mixed cabbage and red cabbage moss together. Standing on the ground of the ecological park, you can't see anything at first glance, but if you observe from above, you will find that these red cabbage moss mixed with cabbage form some special graphics. Not graphics, but text. In the past month, NPC Luo has planted dozens of acres of vegetable fields. There is a large rectangular area where he has worked hard to plant. He spent more than a month, using each vegetable field as a grid for writing and red cabbage as strokes. and wrote a line of unfinished words for Yu Gang, who came to see him every day. "Yu Gang, save me, I'm trapped in the game, and what if it's a coincidence? Or is it an Easter egg deliberately made by the system? A living person is trapped in the game. Isn't it too absurd?" Baking guessed a possibility. "We also have this speculation, so we called everyone here tonight to wait for verification of something that may happen tonight or tomorrow. If it happens, it proves that everything in the vegetable field is not a coincidence, but Luo Jing is really conveying information to us." Yu Gang's voice was still trembling, and it can be seen that his emotions were quite intense. "What are you waiting for? Waiting to see if Luo Xiangchun, who died in the game, will get into trouble, and then verify whether the game is really connected to the real world?" Baking guessed. "Yes." Yu Gang nodded. "What will happen to Lao Luo?" Liu Zhu asked Yu Gang hurriedly. She had a good relationship with Luo Xiangchun and didn't want anything to happen to this good man. "It's hard to say. Zushu will call him in an hour. If he is asleep, he will call him again tomorrow. I told you all this just to let you wait for the news together and verify my speculation together." Yu Gang answered Liu Zhu. "I think I also have a piece of information to provide to everyone. Maybe I can speculate what will happen to Lao Luo." Jin Ke, who had not spoken before, spoke at this time. "What information?" Yu Gang asked Jin Ke hurriedly, and the others looked at Jin Ke together. "Liu Zhu, do you still remember Tao Mumu?" Jin Ke looked at Liu Zhu first. "I remember the boy who came with us. The three of us were the first batch of employees in Villa 16. Liu Zhu nodded. "Yes, Liu Zhu, Tao Mumu and I were the first to report to Villa 16. Tao Mumu resigned the next day. Before he resigned, he did something he shouldn't have done to a female NPC in the game and was hit on the head by a security guard in the base. Then, the next day, this news appeared on my phone." Jin Ke took out his old phone that he didn't play games with, and called up the news that he had accidentally browsed and saved on the phone screen. "A pedestrian died suddenly on the street. The doctor claimed that it was a ruptured cerebral aneurysm. The weather has changed a lot in recent days. Experts say that it is the peak period for various vascular diseases. It's really Tao Mumu. No wonder he didn't reply to me when I sent him WeChat later." Liu Zhu was shocked after seeing the news. Although the face of the deceased was mosaiced in the news picture, Liu Zhu recognized him at a glance by looking at his clothes and figure. The deceased was Tao Mumu, who entered the studio on the same day as her. "You mean that if the characters in the game die, the players in the real world will die? If the characters in the game are transformed into NPCs, we in the real world will be trapped in the game?" Bacon confirmed with Yu Gang and Jin Ke in shock. "So you are waiting to see whether Lao Luo will die to verify your point of view?" Liu Zhu also gasped. When she saw the pictures of Luo Jing's vegetable field before, she was still half believing and half doubting, but now after seeing the news provided by Jin Ke, she is a little uneasy, almost. "Yes," Yu Gang nodded. Behind him, another thunderclap sounded outside the window, and raindrops fell, soon soaking the window glass of the private room. Chapter 87, Seeking Death. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 50,000 starting coins. I think we should remind Lao Luo instead of sitting here and waiting for him to get into trouble. Liu Zhu spoke again after a while. "How should we remind him?" "Tell him that after leaving the studio, he might get stuck in the game and become an NPC, or he might suddenly die from a brain tumor." "I can say that even if we tell him this, we can't stop this kind of supernatural thing from happening," Yu Gang replied to Liu Zhu with some emotion. "I think we should give him a call and remind him to be safe and go home as soon as possible." Niu supported Liu Zhu's point of view. "Go home as soon as possible?" "Luo Jing went home safely, right?" "What happened?" "He killed his cohabiting girlfriend." "You asked him to go home as soon as possible. Do you want his family to get into trouble?" Yu Gang's emotion became even more intense. "I'll call him, no matter what. It's still right to remind him a few words." Zhu Shu picked up the phone and dialed Luo Xiangchun's number. Yu Gang wanted to stop Zhu Shu, but he opened his mouth and said nothing in the end. After a few rings, the other side hung up. "Called again?" And it was hung up again. "I called again, but the phone was turned off." What if he kills his family for no apparent reason like Luo Ye did after he goes home? We should find a way to stop him before it happens, and he should be allowed to attend the meeting tonight, instead of waiting here indifferently for the results of the experiment. You people are going too far. When Liu Zhu saw that the call was not connected, her emotions became a little intense. Liu Zhu usually looks cynical, but in the game, she and Luo Xiangchun work in the same breeding area and participate in training at the Warrior Training Center. She has more contact with them on weekdays and thinks that Luo Xiangchun is a good man who loves his family and is responsible. She has a good impression of Luo Xiangchun. Now that she has heard about these things and knows that Luo Xiangchun is very likely to get into trouble or even die, she can no longer remain calm. Okay. Let's rush to Luo Xiangchun's house now and remind him of this. Zhu looked at Yu Gang. I can't object, but I still want to remind everyone that we must keep tonight's conversation confidential, and keep all this information confidential. You know, we are facing some kind of supernatural mysterious power. Don't just think about saving people. We can't even save ourselves now, and there is no good way to save Luo Xiangchun before we discuss countermeasures. Yu Gang reminded everyone a few words. Does anyone know where Luo Xiangchun lives? Zhu asked everyone. I heard him say that his home is in a community called Four Seasons Sunshine, but I don't know which building he lives in. Liu Zhu answered baking. Four Seasons Sunshine community seems to be very big. How can I find it when I go there? Zhu obviously also heard of Four Seasons Sunshine community. Let's go first and ask the property management. Liu Zhu thought about it and answered Zhu. After some discussion, the call for saving people prevailed, and everyone left the Marriott nightclub. When they were standing under the awning on the street to take shelter from the rain and wait for a taxi, they saw two police cars and an ambulance suddenly coming across the street, and some pedestrians also gathered over. Could it be that Luo Xiangchun got into trouble? How could it be such a coincidence? If he took the subway home, he should have passed by there. Yes, it is indeed possible. Who will go over to take a look? I'll go over and take a look, and then call you, Zhu said, and then ran across the street in the rain. A few minutes later, Yu Gang's cell phone rang. It was Zhu who called. After answering the call, Yu Gang was stunned. His face was pale, and his body was a little unstable. What's going on? Everyone asked Yu Gang. It's Luo Xiangchun. He is seriously injured and unconscious. His head is full of blood. Yu Gang's voice was trembling. So, if you die in the game, you will also die in the real world. Is it true? Baking was shocked. Don't be such a pessimist. Didn't you hear that he was just unconscious? Let's go over and take a look. Liu Zhu was very dissatisfied with Baking's statement. The ambulance has been boarded. Zhu said the ambulance is going to the People's Hospital. Let's stop a car and go to the People's Hospital. It was raining heavily, and all the taxis on the street were full. There was no choice but to go to the subway station opposite to the People's Hospital. There should be one last subway train at this time. After crossing the street in the rain, everyone rushed into the subway station. Although there was only one last subway train, there were still many passengers in the subway station. They were all in a hurry and didn't want to delay this last subway train. After entering the subway car, everyone gathered in a corner of the car where there were no other passengers, still discussing fiercely in a low voice. It's terrible. When the studio recruited us, they didn't remind us at all. If they reminded us that if the game character died, we would die in the real world, I would not play this game no matter how much money they gave me. Death is not terrible. I think the most terrible thing is to be turned into an NPC by the studio. Since Luo Ye was able to grow that picture asking for help, it means that his consciousness is clear. A clear consciousness is locked in the body of an NPC, repeating the work of picking up manure and growing vegetables every day without being able to get rid of it. This is simply a torture. This studio has serious problems. We need to call the police. Liu Zhu said. Well, we must let the police investigate this harmful studio. 2 lives have been lost. No, 3 lives. Baking agreed with Liu Zhu's proposal. You can't call the police. Jin Ke stopped Liu Zhu and Baking. Why not call the police? If we call the police and ask them to investigate this studio and the game production company, They can find out the truth behind the scenes and rescue us from this game. Otherwise, if we die in the game in the future, won't we die like Brother Luo, want to quit but end up becoming an NPC like Luo Jing? Baking didn't quite understand what Jin Ke meant. Call the police? What if someone from the studio takes over the case? As a supernatural organization, it shouldn't be difficult to do this, right? Once the studio knows that we called the police, what will be the consequences? Use supernatural power to kill and silence us? Or turn us all into NPCs? What do you think the studio can't do? Luo Jing was turned into an NPC at the beginning, but it was just a word from Director Chen. What do you think the police can do to ensure our safety? Jin Ke reminded everyone. Everyone was silent. What Jin Ke said made sense. They were not facing an ordinary criminal organization, but a supernatural force that ordinary humans could not resist at all. Now that they knew there was something wrong with the game, who would dare to quit voluntarily? Resign? Delete the game? That would simply be courting death. Chapter 88. It's raining heavily. So what should we do now? If we do nothing, we will sooner or later follow in Lao Luo's footsteps. Are we just going to sit there and wait for death? Baking spoke again. Jin Ke spread his hands. He just stopped them from calling the police to prevent him from being implicated by some unforeseen events. He hasn't thought too much about what to do in the future. I think that at this point, we need to talk to Director Chen, and we should talk together. I feel that Director Chen knows much more about this game than we do, and he has been hiding something from us. But now that we have revealed to him the deaths of Luo Xiangchun and that Tao, as well as the fact that Luo Jing grew words while farming, he will definitely not be able to deny it anymore. Yu Gang proposed to everyone. If that happens, won't we be exposed? If the studio knows we have found out the truth, will they kill us all? If we do nothing now, we will definitely die in the future. Who can guarantee that we won't die every time we fight wild monsters after leaving the training base? I heard that there are bosses, dungeons and the like in the wild. If the studio forces us to complete tasks and kill bosses, dying in the game will be equivalent to death in the real world. Yes, don't forget, the game also has a ranking function. You must participate in the ranking 1 month after changing your job. Once the number of stars in the ranking becomes -100, the character will be judged dead. Yes, death. Indeed, we must do something. And I think that Director Chen may not be of the same mind as the studio. He only arrived at the studio 2 months earlier than our earliest batch of employees. I even think that he may not understand the truth. Once he understands the truth and knows that death in the game is real death, maybe he will stand on the same front with us. Well, let's go talk to him together. The others were also a little excited and expressed their opinions. Now they finally understood why the game's slogan claimed that this game was the most terrifying game in history. Before talking to Director Chen, let's go to the hospital to check on Lao Luo's condition. He is usually very nice to us, so we have to see him for the last time. In addition, I suggest that everyone donate some money to their families, which can more or less help them. Then we can discuss the matter of talking to Director Chen later. Liu Zhu proposed to everyone. Sister Liu's words make sense. Let's go to the hospital first. Yes, let's go to the hospital first. What if we meet the police in the hospital? And Lao Luo's family? How do we introduce our identities? Don't reveal the studio for the time being. Just say we are colleagues. I heard Lao Luo say that he never told his family which company he worked for. Just say we are a small IT company and Lao Luo is a manager in the company. That's all I can say. When the players continued to discuss various things, Jin Ke didn't say anything else. When Tao Mu died, he had some doubts about the game Horror City. Later, training in the game, increasing strength in the real world, and various performances of NPCs in the game gradually accumulated his doubts. Today, Luo Xiangchun's death confirmed all his previous speculations. Did Xue'er's parents, the predecessor of Xiaomi mobile phone, die in the same way? Their characters in the game died, and they were worried about Xue'er's safety, so they wanted to send Xue'er somewhere at the last moment. But something happened before they reached their destination, so they could only leave her in the snow? I don't know why. When Jin Ke faced this matter, he was not as scared as others. He thought more about wanting to learn more about this game. Moreover, He felt that it was meaningless for everyone to go to the mentor Chen Wei to talk. If Chen Wei, as he said, only played a role in passing information up and down, then it is conceivable that his life is also in the hands of the studio, and he is just a puppet. They can't solve any problems by going to him. If Chen Wei is a core member and accomplice of the studio, then they are just looking for death by going to him. Of course, the first possibility is very high, and the second possibility is very small. Let's take it one step at a time. After 4 subway stops, you will reach the People's Hospital, and the platform exit is next to the main entrance of the People's Hospital. Zhu Shu followed the ambulance to the hospital first. After Yu Gang called him, he led everyone to the outside of the operating room. After the police learned of Luo Zhangchun's identity from Zhu Shu, they had found a way to contact his family. Half an hour later, Luo Zhangchun's wife and parents-in-law rushed to the hospital together. Luo Zhangchun's parents were out of town and could not make it for a while. The rescue took more than an hour in the operating room, but because of the serious injuries, Luo Zhangchun's life was ultimately not saved. The police also acted quickly. After investigating the surrounding surveillance, they quickly determined that the murderer was 2 men riding electric motorcycles. When they passed the dark alley, they found Luo Zhangchun, who was drunk and vomiting. The man in the back seat walked into the dark alley with a hammer in his hand. A few minutes later, the man came out and rode away in a hurry on an electric bike. There is no doubt that this was a robbery and homicide case. The murderer hit Luo Zhangchun on the back of the head with a hammer and robbed Luo Zhangchun of his mobile phone, watch, wallet and other items. Similar cases have happened before. The murderer also used a hammer to hit the back of the victim's head and then robbed him. Some victims were severely injured in the head and survived after surgery. But Luo Zhangchun was very unlucky. The murderer was too heavy-handed and the hospital was unable to rescue him. Both men wore helmets when they committed the crime, and the electric motorcycle they rode when they committed the crime was also likely stolen, which made it difficult for the police to identify the murderer. When everyone was listening to the police informing the family of the progress of the case in the corridor, Jin Ke accidentally saw a dark shadow appear outside the glass on the side of the corridor. He walked to the glass and looked outside. It was raining heavily outside. The rain completely soaked the glass and flowed down the glass. In this way, it is impossible to see the situation outside clearly, right? He must be dazzled. Just when Jin Ke thought he was dazzled and was about to leave, he suddenly found that the rain washing on the window glass actually formed a few words. And it seemed that the words were being written with fingers. I'm Luo Zhangchun. I'm on the subway. What are you looking at? Yu Gang walked over to Jin Ke and asked. Then he also looked at the window glass. There was nothing on the window glass, and the scene of the rain forming words just now seemed like an illusion. It's raining so hard. Jin Ke sighed. Yes, it's raining so hard. Yu Gang also sighed. Do you want to know the creation process of the last mobile game? Do you want to see the real-time video of the author creating this book? Follow the WeChat account, and you can see it. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89 Heartache and Guilt. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 50,000 starting coins. Wheel and Home Community, 16 villas. On the second floor, the bedroom of Tutor Chen Wei. The bedroom of Tutor Chen Wei is very large. It is a suite. The inner room is the bedroom, and there is a reception hall outside, which is equipped with sofas, chairs, and coffee tables, enough for more than 10 people to sit around and talk. Outside the villa, it was pouring rain. In the reception hall, it was extremely quiet. Everyone looked at Tutor Chen Wei together. In the past, Chen Wei notified everyone to go to the first floor lobby for a meeting. But tonight was different. 7 employees knocked on his door and wanted to have a special meeting with him. What happened? Why are everyone's expressions so serious? Chen Wei spoke first, breaking the slightly dull situation. Director Chen, We think you should have known what happened. Zhu Shu answered Chen Wei. Chen Wei avoided Zhu Shu's gaze and kept touching his bald head. Director Chen, Brother Luo is dead. Liu Zhu looked at Chen Wei with red eyes. Oh? Chen Wei continued to touch his bald head. And Tao Mu, who came in with me and Jin Ke, is also dead. Liu Zhu continued. Oh. Chen Wei stopped touching his bald head and pinched his chin instead, lowering his head, not knowing what he was thinking. Luo Jing in real life was locked up in a mental hospital, like a body without a soul. Luo Jing, who was transformed into an NPC in the game, used the vegetable field to send us a distress signal. Zhu Shu put the picture in the iPad in front of Chen Wei. What are you doubting? Chen Wei finally raised his head after looking at the picture. When the studio recruited us, it concealed a very important thing from us, that is, once our characters died in the game, we would also die in real life, right? Yu Gang asked Chen Wei in a trembling voice. If we resign, our characters will be transformed into NPCs in the game, and our souls will be transferred to the bodies of the NPCs in the game. And will we become empty bodies without souls in real life? Zhu Shu added a few questions. You know everything? Now that you know, you must more seriously abide by the various management regulations of the studio and the base, and work hard to make your character stronger so that the character can survive in the game world. Chen Wei was not surprised at all, and he used the words of the two to teach everyone a lesson. Why do you want to harm us? Yu Gang became emotional when he heard Chen Wei's answer. How did I harm you? Chen Wei spread his hands. Yu Gang, please pay attention to your wording. We were not recruited by Director Chen. He was also recruited by the studio like us. He is just responsible for managing us here. It can't be said that he harmed us. He is also a victim. Qin Heiji reminded Yu Gang a few words. Yu Gang's strategy is wrong. At this time, they should win over Director Chen to stand with them, instead of completely opposing the relationship. Qin Heiji, don't interrupt. Director Chen, you already knew the truth, but when we entered the studio, you didn't remind us. Everyone here, like Brother Luo, is a living being. You watched us walk into the fire pit and did nothing. Do you think you really have no responsibility at all? Liu Zhu was also a little emotional. Things are not what you think. Don't be so excited. Chen Wei waved to Liu Zhu. At this point, with all the evidence in front of you, you can still say that? Yu Gang's body kept shaking, not knowing whether it was because of anger or fear. What you see is just the appearance, not the truth of the matter. Chen Wei shook his head. Then tell me, what is the truth of the matter? Tao Mu is not dead? Luo Xiangchun is not dead? Or something else? Yu Gang continued to question Chen Wei. He knew that it was only tonight that everyone was united, and Chen Wei was forced to answer his questions. It would be difficult to question him at other times, because of the contract between me and the studio. There are some things I can't tell you now. One day, when you reach a certain level in the studio, many things will naturally become clear. The only thing I can tell you now is that the studio recruited you not to send you to death, but to give you a chance. I hope each of you can seize this opportunity and try to survive in the game. All the answers and truths you want are in this game. Chen Wei answered Yu Gang. Don't say these nonsense words. We don't understand. Do you really feel no responsibility for Tao Mumu's death and Brother Luo's death? Don't you feel guilty at all? Liu Zhu was very dissatisfied with Chen Wei's evasive answer. Responsibility? As your mentor, what else can I do? I have repeatedly emphasized to you the rules of the studio and the base, and repeatedly emphasized that you should not violate the rules of the studio and the base. I told you that if you abide by the rules and train hard, your character can survive well. If you ignore the rules and violate the rules, you will pay a heavy price. I have done my best within the scope of my authority and in what I can do. What else do you want me to do? I am more sad than any of you about Tao Mumu's death, Luo Xiangchun's death, and Luo Jing's transformation into an NPC, and I feel deeply guilty. But what can sadness and guilt change? Chen Wei asked Liu Zhu a few questions. Don't get excited. Talk it over nicely. Qin Heiji acted as a peacemaker again. When Luo Jing resigned, did you tell him the consequences of becoming an NPC? If you had told him, would he still resign? Also, when we came to report, before installing and playing this game, you could have reminded us not to play this game. and told us that if the character in the game died, we would die in the real world, and we would definitely not play this game. No one would lose their lives for this. But, did you do anything? Do you feel sad and guilty now? Are you saying these words with your conscience? Yu Gang suppressed his inner anger and continued to question Chen Wei. Do you know that brother Luo has a wife and a son? Do you know why he works so hard? He has to support his family. His son Dongdong will be 6 years old next month, and he wants to save money to buy Dongdong a birthday present. But now his wife has lost her husband and his son has lost his father. A happy family is ruined. It's all because of this studio and your callousness. You say you have no responsibility for brother Luo's death? Doesn't your conscience hurt? Liu Zu's emotions were almost out of control. Calm down, calm down. Qin Heiji advised Liu Zu a few words. Get out. Liu Zu splashed a cup of tea on Qin Heiji's face. Chapter 90. The Dark Side. Good intentions don't go unrewarded. Qin Heiji wiped his face with a depressed look, and decided to say nothing like everyone else. Yu Gang and Liu Zu continued to stare at Chen Wei, waiting for his explanation. I don't want to explain anything about this. I can only say that I can't stop this. I can't stop anything from happening, whether you believe it or not. I can only say this. In addition, I still want to remind everyone that things are not what you see on the surface. If you want to know the answer, go to the game to find it. When your game character becomes powerful, you will naturally understand why all this is happening and what the truth is. There is no point in constantly asking me here. Chen Wei closed his eyes and touched his bald head again. Then we can only call the police and let the police take down this studio. Liu Zu threatened Chen Wei a few words. You can try, but as your mentor, I strongly suggest that when you are doing justice for your dead colleagues, you should also consider your own life safety. I hope you can live to see the day when the studio is taken down. Chen Wei opened his eyes and looked at Liu Zu. Are you trying to intimidate us? We are not 3-year-old children anymore. Yu Gang found that only Liu Zu and he were fighting together after he came back. He had to support Liu Zu when she was threatened. Otherwise, when Chen Wei threatened him, no one would speak for him. I didn't intimidate anyone. I just don't want to see the tragedy happen again. What I wanted to express just now is very clear. When you have the idea of calling the police and are ready to implement it, think about how Luo Xiangchun died and how Tao Muma died. They were not killed by the studio. One died from the attack of the gangsters and the other died from a brain aneurysm. What kind of supernatural phenomena do you think will happen on your way to call the police? Chen Wei asked Yu Gang and Liu Zu a few questions. Let's all go together. I don't believe that the police will sit idly by and watch so many lives. Liu Zu proposed to Chen Wei, but she didn't seem to notice that since the meeting started, she and Yu Gang were almost the only ones speaking. Qin Heiji occasionally spoke but was trying to smooth things over, and everyone else remained silent. Go together. I'm worried that when you're walking on the road or riding in a car, a truck will suddenly lose control, or a billboard on the roadside will suddenly collapse due to disrepair, or someone will commit suicide by hugging a gas tank and rush to your side. This kind of thing happens every day, and it will be reported in the news, and then no one will remember those dead people. Chen Wei sighed. We can post on the internet to expose the shady dealings of this studio. I believe that many victims of the game will stand up together to expose all this. Yu Gang thought about it and proposed to Chen Wei. Post it. You can post it now. Are you sure you can post the post about this studio normally? Chen Wei looked helpless. Really? Yu Gang took out his mobile phone and wrote a post in a forum he often played. Title: The Dark Side of the Game, Horror City and the Horror Studio. Content: When playing this game, once the character in the game dies, the player in the real world will die. The horror studio has killed several innocent players. There are still many players trapped in it and their lives are in danger at any time. Please forward it widely to attract public attention. After editing the post, Yu Gang clicked to post. Isn't this posted normally? Yu Gang refreshed the post bar and found that the post was posted normally and was not deleted. Click on the post to see the content first. Chen Wei reminded Yu Gang. Yu Gang clicked on the post he posted and was shocked to see the content of the post. Horror City, the scariest mobile game in history. No one wants to play it? No problem. The daily salary starts at 300 yuan. including food and accommodation. Please join the group for details. Cuckoo group number 111,973,479, 480,525,099, 554,231,311. That's not what I posted. Yu Gang had a look of shock on his face, and Liu Zhu and Zhu Shu, who were sitting next to him and watching him post, also had a look of shock on their faces. This is a naked blockade of public opinion, and it's done with supernatural power. After refreshing again, the post was deleted by the moderator because it was an advertisement. I am as sad as you are about Luo Zhangchun's death, but what's the point of being sad now that it has happened? What I can do is to ask the studio for a pension for him, and try to get a larger amount. Then, in order to prevent such a tragedy from happening again, I remind everyone here again to strictly abide by the various management regulations of the studio and the training base, and not to make the same mistakes as Tao Mumu and Luo Jing, and not to make the same mistakes as Luo Zhangchun, because the slightest mistakes you make in the game may make you regret it in the real world. Chen Wei continued. Yu Gang and Liu Zhu were silent. Their main purpose of questioning Chen Wei was to find a way out for themselves and to seek an explanation for the dead Luo Zhangchun and the NPC Luo Jing. But when all this was suppressed by supernatural forces, any condemnation they made seemed pale and powerless. The studio has been recruiting people non-stop. I really want to stop you from entering the studio. However, even if I stop one group today, can I stop another group tomorrow? Moreover, once the studio finds out that I have violated the contract, they will also use supernatural power to kill me, just like they killed Luo Zhangchun and Tao Mumu without hesitation and easily. After killing me, someone else will take my place as a mentor here, and new employees will continue to report to the accommodation points arranged by the studio in various places. Chen Wei sighed again. Director Chen is a good person and has been trying to help us. If someone else becomes our mentor, our fate will only be worse. Qin Heiji couldn't help but add a few more words. I believe Director Chen is a good person. He has tried his best to help us. If we were in his position, we would not be able to stop all of this from happening. Jin Ke also spoke. Jin Ke still remembers that late night a few months ago, when he came to report. He had an argument with the taxi driver at the gate of the community. Chen Wei happened to pass by at that time. At that time, he didn't know that Jin Ke was a new employee who reported to the studio, but he still helped him out of righteousness, which shows that he is essentially a very kind and righteous person. If he was not coerced, he would not want to become an accomplice of the studio. Liu Zhu covered her face and cried, "Will you retaliate against us for what happened tonight?" Yu Gang asked Chen Wei. You know, Chen Wei holds the power of life and death over them and can turn them into NPCs like Luo Jing at any time. Chapter 91. If you can't resist, just enjoy it. Am I such a petty person? Chen Wei smiled helplessly. Director Chen hopes that every one of us is fine, so don't think too much. Qin Heiji patted Yu Gang on the shoulder. Then can you apply to the higher-ups to transfer Luo Jing back? I think the day-to-day work in the ecological plantation has made him realize his mistakes. If he is transferred back, he should train honestly in the base and stop being lazy. He should be given a chance to repent and reform, right? Yu Gang proposed to Chen Wei. Since he received Luo Jing's distress signal, he couldn't ignore the matter. I can promise you to apply to the higher-ups, but I can't make any guarantees to you about the result. Chen Wei answered Yu Gang, but from the tone and expression of his voice, he seemed to know how the higher-ups would respond. Then I thank you on behalf of Luo Jing. Yu Gang can only do this for Luo Jing now. Do you have anything else to say? Chen Wei looked at the others. If we quit now, the result will be the same as Luo Jing, right? Liu Zhu confirmed with Chen Wei. Yes. Chen Wei nodded. If there is an accident in the training base and NPC Luo Jing dies in the training base, then he will also be truly dead in the mental hospital, right? Liu Zhu then asked Chen Wei, what is the difference between him being alive and dead in the mental hospital? Chen Wei asked Liu Zhu in return. No one said anything. I hope what happened tonight won't happen again. In addition, I hope you don't tell anyone about the content of tonight's meeting and don't affect other employees. Chen Wei mentioned this to everyone. The other employees he mentioned were the other 4 new employees who were recently recruited. They will find out sooner or later, Yu Gang muttered in a low voice. After Luo Xiangchun leaves, the studio will soon have new employees. I know some of you are kind-hearted and might remind the newcomers not to join. But if you really do that, I can't guarantee that you won't suddenly encounter various accidents. I'm not saying these words to scare you, but I sincerely hope that no one of you will get into trouble again. Chen Wei said a few more words. No one said a word, but it was obvious that they all heard what Chen Wei said. If there's nothing else, I'll go back to my room and sleep. Chen Wei looked around at everyone again, and after confirming that no one spoke, he turned around and walked to his bedroom next door and closed the bedroom door. After everyone left Chen Wei's suite, they were pulled by Yu Gang to his room with Zhu Shu and Ni Yu. Is this matter over? Yu Gang asked everyone. What else can we do? We can either leave and end up like Luo Jing, or call the police and die in various accidents on the way to the police, or pretend that we know nothing, eat, sleep, play mobile games in the villa, and continue our previous life. It seems that we only have these 3 choices. Qin Heiji summarized. What if I call the police now? Zhu Shu took out his mobile phone with a thoughtful expression. He is a rich second generation, his family is not short of money, and he played this game purely because he was attracted by the game's publicity. He really didn't expect to fall into such a deep pit. You will explode on the spot. Jin Ke answered Zhu Shu and stepped back a few steps. Baking and Qin Heiji also subconsciously stepped back 2 steps. Really? Zhu Shu pressed the numbers 1 and 1 on his mobile phone in turn, but hesitated and did not press 0. Okay, don't press it, Qin Heiji advised Zhu Shu. He didn't want to be implicated, but if he escaped from the room now, he was afraid of being accused of being disloyal. It can't be that serious, right? Zhu Shu stretched out his hand to the virtual key number 0. Just when 0 was about to be pressed, there was a deafening explosion with a bang. Zhu Shu screamed and threw the phone out. Liu Zhu, Ni Yu, Yu Gang and others were caught off guard and screamed loudly. The screams of several people lasted for half a minute before they stopped. After the screams stopped, everyone found that Ni Yu's fat body had actually flexibly crawled under the bed. What the hell? It was the thunder outside. Baking cursed. Everyone came to their senses and realized that the deafening explosion just now was indeed the thunder outside. There was no thunder for a long time during the heavy rain. Unexpectedly, when Zhu Shu was about to call the police, the thunder suddenly sounded, and it seemed to explode outside the window of Villa 16. At that time, everyone was a little nervous and was caught off guard and scared. One person's scream triggered more screams and collective panic. I thought I really exploded on the spot. Zhu Shu looked very embarrassed. I'm just saying it casually. Jin Ke looked innocent. This thunder should be a warning to us. I guess if we dare to go to the police station to report it, there will be all kinds of accidents. Maybe a bolt of lightning will strike from the sky and burn us all to a crisp. Anyway, I won't try it. Anyone who is not afraid of death can try it. Qin Heiji looked frightened. It's terrible. The game is monitoring the behavior of each of us. This is not in line with scientific common sense at all. This is a supernatural power. Zhu Shu picked up the unbroken mobile phone from the ground and muttered to himself. If you can't resist, just enjoy it. As long as you try not to let the characters in the game die. The rest, living in a villa with food and accommodation is pretty good. If you want to make trouble, please continue. Anyway, I won't participate anymore. Baking said a few words and turned to walk out of the room. If you come up with any ideas, you can call me to discuss them together, but now I'm going back to my room to sleep. Qin Heiji also said something to everyone, and slipped out of the room behind Baking. I have to go back to my room too. Jin Ke felt that there was no point in him staying here any longer, so he said something to the rest of the people and walked out of the room. For some reason, after confirming the cruel fact that if the character in the game dies, the real world will also die, Jin Ke's feeling was not as strong as that of other employees. He had long felt that there was something wrong with this game. In addition to the problem with the game, the phone in Xue'er's cradle also had a big problem. In addition to supporting himself and Xue'er, He played this game with the purpose of exploring the truth behind the game and Xue'er's life experience. Chapter 92 God's Prophecy. Jin Ke believed that with his operating skills and the plug-in in his Xiaomi phone, he should be able to play this game more easily than other players. If he is careful and attentive, his character should not die so easily. In addition, Jin Ke's parents died very early, and he has always been a lonely otaku, playing all kinds of games alone, typing and writing all kinds of fantasies about games alone. Games have been with him all these years, numbing his nerves, allowing him to avoid and forget the cruelty of the real world. Games have almost become his life. Sometimes, he even wants to live in the game world and not come out. Now the game is just more real. Is it scary? I don't think so, as long as he works hard to make himself stronger and carefully deal with various emergencies. I believe that with his operating ability, he will not die easily in this game. For example, Galbo of the assassin group is very powerful, right? He defeated Fang Yi and called himself the assassin brother, but what was the result? After the actual battle, Jin killed him without losing a drop of blood. Jin is a master of game operation. When he plays operation-based clearance mobile games, he is different from other players. He always pursues to clear the level with one life or even full health. When he plays operation-based park games, he always pursues to kill the opponent with full health as much as possible. The most challenging thing in the game Horror City is the operation ability and survival ability. Jin feels that these two abilities are the ones he is the best at. What's more, he has the help of powerful plugins. Xue'er is so well behaved, and almost no one worries. Luo Ye handed Xue'er back to Jin Ke. Thank you for your hard work. Jin Ke expressed his gratitude to Luo Ye. It's not hard, I don't have anything to do anyway. Xue'er makes my life here much more interesting. Speaking of which, I should thank her. Luo Ye looked at Xue'er with a loving face. Looking at Luo Ye's eyes, Jin Ke began to doubt whether Xue'er had some kind of magic that made everyone who approached her fall in love with her. Luo Ye is like this, Luo Ye is like this, and Jin Ke himself is also like this. When it is inconvenient for you to take care of her in the future, you can leave her to me, Luo Ye said to Jin Ke again, and then reluctantly walked out of Jin Ke's room. Watching Luo Ye leave, Jin Ke walked over and locked the door, then opened the Xiaomi mobile phone and checked the status of the characters AFK. The first energy gate has been opened. It seems that I have some talent for energy cultivation. What should we do next? In the room, Yu Gang looked at Zhu Shu and Liu Zhu. Now baking is right. If you can't resist, you can only enjoy it. Zhu Shu's expression was a little weird. I think this game is not bad. At least it helped me lose weight. Hehe. Niu smiled foolishly. When Niu was in school, he was a typical internet addict. He had long been unable to distinguish between the internet and reality. Now he can support himself with games, which he thinks is a perfect thing. In addition, when Niu was in middle school, his parents scolded him more than once, saying that if he didn't study hard and played games secretly, he would die in the game sooner or later. Now Niu thinks his parents are really wise and prophetic. How can Niu still laugh? Playing this game will kill people. We will die too. How can a character not die in a game? One day when your character in the game dies, you will never laugh again. Liu Zhu still frowned. She and Luo Xiangchun were the best friends in the villa. Luo Xiangchun's death was a great blow and stimulation to her. Then what else can we do? Call the police? Do you dare to try? Zhu Shu asked Liu Zhu. Liu Zhu was silent. People are not united. When Liu Zhu and I talked, no one helped us at all. Yu Gang looked very disappointed. It's not that I didn't help you. I was thinking about how to start. It happened that you said everything I said, so Zhu Shu explained a few words palely. I'm not good at talking, and I'm afraid of saying something wrong. Niu laughed a few more times. I mean the others. Bao Baking said nothing, while Qin Heiji and Jin Ke flattered Director Chen. Alas, Yu Gang sighed. What can we do if we are united? It's useless. Director Chen is indeed a good person, but he can't help us. Liu Zhu looked disheartened. She knew that she was a little too emotional during the conversation just now and said a lot of things she shouldn't have said, but Chen Wei didn't bother with her at all, which made her feel a little embarrassed. Okay, everyone accept your fate. If you don't want to die, Train hard according to the studio's requirements. Try to live one more day. Yu Gang looked like he was in deep sorrow. I have a question for you. Now that everyone knows the truth, if there is another new person recruited, will you kindly remind him not to join the studio? Zhu Shu asked Yu Gang and Liu Zhu. No, I still want to live a few more years. Am I stupid to risk my life for someone I don't know? Yu Gang shook his head. Besides you guys, I won't make any new friends in this studio. I don't want to be sad for anyone anymore. Liu Zhu's eyes were still wet with tears. I finally understand why Director Chen didn't stop us from joining the studio. Human nature. Zhu Shu sighed. It's not easy for anyone. Ni Yu added naively. Second floor, master bedroom. Chen Wei sighed as he looked at the studio's reply in the email. A few minutes ago, he submitted an application to the studio to convert Luo Ye back from NPC. The studio replied quickly, with only 4 words, unable to operate. Just as Chen Wei was about to close his laptop, another new reply appeared in his mailbox. The email applying for Luo Zhengchun's pension also received a reply. The pension amount is limited to 200,000 yuan, and the money has been deposited into the villa's financial account. Damn, too stingy, right? A life. Chen Wei hesitated for a moment, and sent another application, emphasizing Luo Zhengchun's efforts and his family situation again, hoping to add a 0 after the 200,000 yuan amount. It's just hope, and it's slim. After all, Luo Zhengchun had only been in the studio for a short time and had not made any contribution to the studio. The 200,000 yuan was probably allocated by the studio for Chen Wei's sake. After closing the laptop, Chen Wei turned and came to the empty space in the bedroom. Chen Wei's bedroom was different from the bedrooms in other rooms of the villa. There was no bed in it, only a table against the wall with a laptop on it. There was nothing else. Chen Wei opened the game interface on his mobile phone and selected the advanced function that other new employees in the villa did not have. After clicking it, there was an option menu for Game Cabin. Chapter 93 Guess Strong. Chen Wei clicked on Game Cabin Materialization. A moment later, a ball of black fog suddenly appeared in the center of the empty bedroom. The black fog slowly condensed into a cuboid about 2.5 meters long, 1 meter high and wide. When the black fog dissipated, something similar to the energy cabin in the game appeared on the floor of Chen Wei's bedroom. Chen Wei lay down in it without taking off his clothes. Various detection sounds were heard in the energy cabin, and the black fog instantly filled the entire cabin. After more than 10 seconds, the entire energy cabin was once again emitting thick black fog, which quickly condensed into a ball, and the energy cabin on the ground had disappeared. Then, the black fog also disappeared from the air. When Chen Wei appeared again, he appeared on a bed in a room, but his clothes were changed. Outside the window, there was a beautiful beach. A group of beautiful women with very little clothing were playing on the beach. In the distance were blue waves. Some surfing enthusiasts were rushing up, sliding down, and then flying along the waves. The salty smell of the waves and the laughter of the beautiful women drifted into the room through the open window. Chen Wei sat up and stretched, then sighed deeply. After a while, Chen Wei walked to the window and looked at the beauties on the beach with a thoughtful expression. Communication access. An electronic female voice sounded. At the same time, the virtual 4D beach scenery outside the window disappeared, replaced by the cold alloy bulkhead in front of Chen Wei. Chen Wei raised his wrist and pressed on his watch. Various icons appeared in the corner of his vision. Some icons were not common, but some were more familiar icons in the real world, such as QQ and WeChat. The icon in the lower right corner of the vision said Exit. Communication access. The electronic female voice sounded again. It's just online. Connect now. Chen Wei answered the electronic female voice. You seem to have some trouble there? A deep voice appeared in the open space behind Chen Wei. The common little troubles of newcomers have been solved. Chen Wei turned and looked at the source of the voice. A figure shrouded in black fog. Through the black fog, it can be seen that he is wearing black clothes, and his face is completely covered by a black and gold mask. It looks very impressive, but it's just a 3-dimensional projection. Your mission is progressing very slowly. You have to hurry up. The man in black spoke again. I will speed up the progress. By the way, What's special about this group of newcomers? Why did the commander personally appoint me to lead them? Chen Wei asked the man in black. Don't ask about things you shouldn't know, the man in black answered Chen Wei. One of these newcomers is the secret guardian of the system. His name is Jin Ke, right? It doesn't matter if you don't tell me. I have already discovered some of his unique features. Chen Wei guessed on his own. Wrong guess. The man in black shook his head. That's strange. Who on earth has attracted the attention of the commander? Why did he specially arrange me to guard this place? Chen Wei frowned. It is said that a secret guardian will be born in your villa in the next few days. The man in black was silent for a while before speaking. Born? Is it the newcomer I will recruit in the next few days? No. Then why do you say it was born in my villa? Chen Wei was puzzled. This is a secret of the system. The authority of this secret guardian after it appears is even higher than mine. Could it be the baby next to Jin Ke? Chen Wei continued to guess. No, it's not anyone in your villa, not the employees you are going to recruit, and even not under your jurisdiction in the future. It's just born in your place. Not under my jurisdiction? Then what am I busy with? Wasting so much time to bring a group of very ordinary newcomers? How does this help our plan? Chen Wei said in a very dissatisfied tone. The commander's arrangement naturally has his intentions. You just need to do it according to the commander's arrangement. We will take care of the plan, and we will naturally notify you when we need you. Have you got any results from the background investigation of Jinjai Studio? Chen Wei asked another question. It could be an envoy from the god's domain, or it could be a clone of the optical brain. The details are not clear yet. If you continue to lurk, you may have the opportunity to contact their top management and figure it out yourself. Continue to lurk. Lurk in that villa with a group of newcomers? How can you contact their top management like this? Chen Wei's tone was quite dissatisfied. This is part of the plan. Don't worry. Don't tell me anything. I am almost out of interest. Chen Wei looked very frustrated. Don't forget, we are the resistance army, and we can only survive in the cracks. Some things are not told to you to protect your safety. There is an old saying that goes, the more you know, the faster you die. There is also a saying that curiosity kills the cat. I have always believed that you are a smart person. The man in black persuaded Chen Wei a few words. Okay, I accept my fate. Chen Wei said nothing more. Speed up the task. Don't let me rush you anymore. After the man in black finished speaking, he turned into a ball of black mist and disappeared. The next day, Huang Daily, the hammer murder case that shocked the whole country has surfaced again. This time it happened in Huang City. Yesterday, a victim, Luo Ye, was attacked from behind in an alley near Qingshan 2nd Road subway station and fell to the ground with serious injuries. Passers-by found him and called the police. After receiving the alarm, the Qingshan 2nd Road police station quickly dispatched police to the scene. Through on-site investigation and video investigation, it was finally confirmed that the suspects were two men riding electric motorcycles. One of the men hit the back of the victim's head with a hammer. After the victim fell to the ground, he immediately searched the victim and robbed him of his property, and then fled the scene. The method of committing the crime was outrageous. The means were extremely cruel, and the social impact was extremely bad. The victim Luo Ye was rushed to the ICU of the nearby People's Hospital for rescue. Although the medical staff tried their best, they still failed to save the life of the victim Luo Ye. The suspect was wearing a helmet when he committed the crime, and his facial features were difficult to identify through the surveillance video. The electric motorcycle he rode was also stolen temporarily. Based on the method used by the perpetrator, the police initially inferred that this case and a dozen hammer murders that shocked the country some time ago were committed by the same two criminals. These two criminals are extremely cruel and cunning. They never commit more than two crimes in the same city, which brings great difficulties to the investigation and handling of the case. At present, the police are stepping up the investigation of the possible places where the suspects may appear. If citizens have clues in this regard, they can provide them to the police or. Chapter 94, A Wise Eye for Pearls. Thanks to Xiaonai and Jinshi 666 for the 60,000 starting coins reward. After the Luoziangchun incident, the atmosphere in the 16 villas completely changed. When eating in the restaurant in the morning, everyone's faces were serious and solemn, not only for Luo Zhangchun's death, but also for themselves. The death of the rabbit makes the fox mourn. Who knows when Luo Zhangchun's experience will fall on their heads. In the past, when having breakfast in the villa, the employees first controlled the characters to go to the cafeteria of the base, let them eat on their own, and then continue to control the characters in the base after eating. In reality, today, when the employees were having breakfast, from time to time someone took out their mobile phone to check twice to make sure that everything was normal with their characters in the base restaurant. In the past, this character on the mobile phone screen was just a game character to them, but now it is different. This game character is their life. Nothing is more important than life. After breakfast, when they returned to their respective dormitories and controlled the characters in the game to do various tasks in the training base, the employees were more careful than before. Fortunately, the training base has always been very safe, and they feel that as long as they do not leave the training base, there will be no problem. However, a very realistic problem soon came to them. That is, they cannot stay in the base forever. According to Director Chen, after joining the studio for a period of time, there will be mandatory qualifying matches and mandatory field missions, which cannot be pushed away. In order not to die in qualifying matches and field missions, the only thing they can do now is to seize the time to train during the time they stay in the base, and strive to improve the attributes of their characters so that they can have enough self-protection ability when facing future qualifying matches and field missions. However, these employees may not have expected that the inside of the training base is not as safe as they imagined. On the same day as Jin Ke, there were two other players who reported to the equipment department headed by Zhang Shidao. One was named Zhao Bo, who looked insidious and cunning, and the other was named Wu Chuan, who looked sunny and handsome. The purpose of these two people going to Zhang Shidao was the same as Jin Ke's. They wanted to learn rune carving skills. In order to please Zhang Shidao, they worked hard to repair their equipment for a whole day. As a result, they were humiliated and beaten by Zhang Shidao at the end of the night. Zhao Bo did not get any contribution points, and Wu Chuan only got 5 contribution points. The two left in shame and humiliation, but their resentment remained in their hearts forever. Under normal circumstances, a game would not allow players to resent an NPC so much, but this game is different. The two worked hard on the mobile phone screen for a whole day, completely treating it as work, thinking that their hard work would definitely impress the old man and allow them to have different adventures in the game from other players. As a result, not only did they fail to achieve their goals, but they were also humiliated and beaten, which made them unable to let go of their resentment towards Zhang Shidao. Jin Ke, who went with them, was recognized by Zhang Shidao, and his intimacy with Zhang Shidao became higher and higher. The two hated the whole thing and began to hate Jin Ke inexplicably. Unexpectedly, after Zhao Bo and Wu Chuan changed their jobs to assassins, Jin Ke also changed his job to assassin. Zhao Bo awakened the skill of Blood Slash, and he was so powerful that he ascended to the throne of the top assassin rookie student. He felt that he had become the template of the protagonist of the novel from now on, and was about to reach the peak of his life of pretending to be awesome and getting slapped in the face. At this time, he happened to see Jin Ke hiding behind other rookies, and the old hatred came to his mind. He couldn't help but want to make Jin Ke embarrassed in public, so he took the initiative to provoke Jin Ke. After learning that Jin Ke was a scumbag, Zhao Bo proposed a park with Jin Ke. Zhao Bo never expected that his locked attack was manually shut out by Jin Ke, and he lost the park. And he also gave Jin Ke 4,000 contribution points for nothing. The old hatred has not been resolved, and new hatred has been added. Zhao Bo was punished to enter the ecological park. He carried manure, dug pits, filled manure, and planted vegetables every day. His fingers kept tapping on the screen of his mobile phone, but he did not gain any contribution points. He watched his character's strength stagnate in the game, while Jin Ke received the individual tutoring that originally belonged to him from Coach Yuan Kaiyang every night. This made Zhao Bo's hatred for Jin Ke even stronger. Fortunately, a few days later, things took a turn for the better. Yuan Kaiyang, the coach of the assassin training center, came over with a man. It was introduced that the man was named Luo Ye. a super strong man of the C-level assassin profession, one of the deputy directors of the training base, and was in charge of the security and cleaning of the base. After investigating Xiaobo, Luo Ye confirmed that Xiaobo was a rare martial arts genius, so he proposed to Xiaobo to sign a soul contract, so that he could pay off all the gambling debts owed by Xiaobo in advance, so that Xiaobo could come out of the ecological park. In addition, Xiaobo no longer needs to go to the assassin training center. The super strong Luo Ye will take out an hour every night to personally tutor Xiaobo. The individual tutoring of C-level strong Luo Ye is several times better than that of Yuan Qiang. The requirements of this soul contract for Xiaobo are not harsh, that is, to make Xiaobo a member of Luo Ye's forces. Luo Ye will protect him. But when Luo Ye needs Xiaobo, Xiaobo must do his best to run errands and complete various tasks for Luo Ye without involving life-threatening situations. Of course, these tasks also have corresponding rewards. Luo Ye is so invested in Xiaobo that he will not easily let Xiaobo do the kind of life-threatening tasks that Luo Ye personally selected and tutored as a talented student. Luo Ye helped Xiaobo repay the thousands of contribution points, and Xiaobo only needs to pay 50 contribution points to Luo Ye every day in his future work until it is paid off, without interest. Xiaobo wanted nothing more than to find a C-level assassin who was the deputy director of the training base to be his backer, to pay off his debts, and to personally coach him in training. Of course, he immediately agreed and signed the soul contract, and then was released from the ecological park. After leaving the ecological park, Xiaobo was obsessed with revenge on Jin Ke and Zhang Shidao. In addition to training and doing the cleaning work that Luo Ye arranged for him to improve his charm attribute, he always paid attention to the situation of Zhang Shidao and Jin Ke in the equipment department. He even used his relationship with Luo Ye to persuade several NPCs in the cleaning department to form an intelligence network to help him monitor Zhang Shidao's movements. Zhang Shidao and Jin Ke left the training base a while ago with a car and brought back a large package from outside. Naturally, he did not escape his surveillance. It is conceivable that Zhang Shidao and Jin Ke must have dug a big treasure from outside, which should be related to rune cultivation, right? If he finds a way to steal or destroy the treasure, will old man Zhang explode on the spot? Chapter 95, Zhang Letu's Treasure. Thanks to Professor Qin from Tsinghua University for giving me 50,000 Kidian coins. Xiaobo and Wu Chuan live in the same place in reality, not in the Wheelan home community in Huang City, but in a garden villa community in another city. If this game is an online novel, I am the protagonist of this online novel. Xiaobo looked out the window and told Wu Chuan proudly. Why? Wu Chuan looked confused. A handsome and sunny boy like me, Wu Chuan, with a charm value of 11.9, didn't dare to say that he was the protagonist. How dare you, who damages the city appearance when you go out on the street, claim that you are the protagonist? I have a very high talent for cultivation, but I was suppressed by the villain Jin Ke and humiliated by the villain Zhang Shidao during my growth. But as long as it is a piece of gold, it can shine anywhere. After I painted the wall with my feces, no one can cover up my dazzling light. Humphrey, the deputy director of the base, the C-level strongman Luo Ye, took a fancy to me and personally tutored me every night. It won't take long before I can slap the villain Jin Ke and Zhang Shidao in the face. Xiaobo looked proud. Well, what you said makes sense, Wu Chuan agreed, but he couldn't help complaining in his heart. Xiaobo, have you read too many online novels? He was poisoned too much by the little white literature, and his thoughts became abnormal. A protagonist like me usually has a few younger brothers and followers around him. As long as you follow me loyally, I will leave you a share of the benefits. Xiaobo patted Wu Chuan on the shoulder. Aha! That. Okay, thank you very much. Wu Chuan continued to agree, and it would be too embarrassing not to agree at this time. Since I am the protagonist, the first thing to do now is to get rid of those two annoying villains. I have a plan. As you are my younger brother, we should discuss this together. Xiaobo's expression became sinister. Oh, okay, Wu Chuan thought to himself. When did I become your younger brother? Forget it, since you have just been carrying manure for a few days and the manure has already painted the walls. I will not attack you anymore. The plan is this. We go to the equipment department to steal something. Xiaobo picked up his mobile phone, opened the base layout map, and explained to Wu Chuan. Steal something? Listen to me slowly. Old man Zheng and the kid surnamed Jin secretly went out a few days ago. I don't know what treasure they brought back from outside. Xiaobo continued to tell Wu Chuan. Oh, Wu Chuan didn't have as many thoughts as Xiaobo, and didn't know what the meaning of Xiaobo's saying this was. They didn't report to the base this time. They must be doing private work. Xiaobo's eyes kept turning. So what if you do private work? This old man Zheng is stubborn. He is the only one in the equipment department. The base supervisor can't do anything about him. You don't want to complain about him again? It's useless. Wu Chuan shook his head. Last time, they worked hard all day, but were humiliated and beaten by Zheng Shidao. They didn't get the contribution points. The two of them complained to Zheng Shidao together, but they were scolded by the leader in charge of the base, saying that they didn't work hard and didn't meet Zheng Shidao's requirements, so they were scolded. Since then, Wu Chuan has made up his mind not to think about Zheng Shidao anymore, so as not to get angry in vain and hurt his body. It's not worth it. Unexpectedly, Xiaobo mentioned Zheng Shidao to him again tonight. I don't plan to complain about him again. Xiaobo shook his head. Then what are your plans? Wu Chuan asked Xiaobo. Old Zheng spent so much time and risked his life to take the kid surnamed Jin out from the north gate of the back mountain. It took 2 days to haul the treasure back. I think this treasure is very important to old Zheng. If so, if we steal it or destroy it, old Zheng will be very mad. He might even vent his anger on the kid surnamed Jin, and we will be in trouble. Xiaobo told Wu Chuan about his plan. Well, this is a good idea, but since it is very important, old Zheng will definitely keep a close eye on it. How can we have the chance to destroy it? Wu Chuan asked Xiaobo. Don't forget that I work in the cleaning department. The cleaning department has the keys of each department. I have a backup set of door lock keys for the equipment department, although I don't have the key to the warehouse where old Zheng keeps the thing. As long as we enter the equipment department, are we afraid that we can't pry open the door lock of the warehouse? Xiaobo looked confident. There are surveillance cameras everywhere in the base. If we stole or destroyed that thing, Zheng Lao will definitely find out that it was us once he checks the surveillance. Although the base didn't care when we complained to Zheng Lao, if Zheng Lao complained back, the base might not care. If things go wrong, they will punish us severely. It would be a waste of money if we lose more than we gain. Wu Chuan looked worried. You don't know this. Zheng Lao has many secrets in the warehouse. There is no surveillance equipment installed in the entire equipment department. In addition, the training base stops the power supply from 1 to 6 a.m. every week to perform routine maintenance on the power supply facilities. Tonight is the time for routine maintenance. We chose that time to sneak into the equipment department, pry open the warehouse, steal or destroy Zheng Lao's treasure. Zheng Lao is doing private work. Even if he finds that the treasure has been stolen or destroyed, he can only bear the loss and dare not publicize it. Xiaobo seemed to have planned it long ago. Since it is a treasure, then find a way to steal it. Wu Chuan was persuaded by Xiaobo. Of course, I mean, if we can't steal it, we'll destroy it. If we can steal it, of course we'll steal it. You mean, we'll act tonight? We agreed that if we steal the treasure, we'll split the benefits between the two of us. Wu Chuan proposed to Xiaobo. Well, we'll act at 1 o'clock tonight, as soon as the power goes out. If we get any benefits, we'll split them between the two of us. Even if we don't get any benefits, destroying old man Zheng will be a way to get rid of the humiliation we suffered that day. Xiaobo had a resentful expression on his face. Okay, let's do as you say. Although Wu Chuan was still a little worried, after recalling the humiliation he suffered that day, he also wanted to take revenge. If he could really steal old man Zheng's treasure, it would be a great profit. While Xiaobo and Wu Chuan were conspiring, Zheng Shidao and Liu Junmin were busy and nervous in the innermost warehouse of the equipment department. They certainly didn't expect that someone had already set their sights on the thing in front of them. This so-called statue that was dragged back from the ruined temple has a secret in it. A secret that Zheng Shidao and Liu Junmin would not mention to anyone. There is an egg inside the statue. To be more precise, it is a large insect egg, a dormant insect egg that was sealed away. a relic of the great cleanup operation a year ago. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. Do only one thing in your life. What Zhang Shidao had to do next was to first use a special rune array to lift the seal on the eggs, then inject a small amount of energy to wake the eggs from their dormancy, allowing the eggs to hatch into larvae, and finally use the energy core to nourish the larvae so that it could grow into an adult. The adult insect contained the raw materials Liu Junming needed. Zhang Shidao had successfully lifted the seal on the eggs and injected a small amount of energy to allow the eggs to hatch into larvae. Today, he and Liu Junming would confirm together whether the larvae were truly alive, and then decide whether to use the energy core to nourish the larvae so that it could grow into an adult. This was an extremely dangerous matter, a serious violation of the relevant regulations of the base. Zhang Shidao did not dare to let anyone know that he had secretly transported the statue back, and only took Jin Ke, the only person he trusted, out on a secret trip. But he did not even tell Jin Ke the specific secrets of the statue. This energy core is enough for it to grow to the adult stage. Liu Junming carefully took out a black crystal surrounded by black mist from an isolated suitcase made of a special alloy. The quality of this energy core is similar to the one dissected from the mutant black corpse during the last group hunt. If converted into contribution points, it is worth at least tens of thousands. I didn't realize that you are so wealthy. Zhang Shidao was a little suspicious of Liu Junming's identity. You only do one thing in your life, and all your accumulation is consumed in this matter. What do you think? Liu Junming looked a little embarrassed. I won't say anything. Zhang Shidao waved to Liu Junming and placed the energy core in the arranged runes. The dark energy in the energy core was guided out by the arranged runes to form a rune array. Then Zhang Shidao placed the insect eggs into the rune array, and established a rune isolation array outside this rune array, and then signaled Liu Junming that he could start the subsequent operations. Liu Junming held an energy perspective detector with a serious expression, inserted the front probe into the rune array, and moved close to the insect eggs. Energy detection. Unknown energy fluctuations have been detected. Rune energy is being activated. Rune energy has been activated. Start comprehensive scan. Scanning begins. Zhang Shidao sat in front of the screen on the console by the wall, observing and analyzing the data sent back by Liu Junming's detector. Soon a three-dimensional perspective projection image appeared above the rune array. A larva with a round head and many long legs, similar to an arthropod, kept wriggling in the egg-shaped object. Alive. We succeeded. Liu Junming clenched his fist and roared, looking very excited. Zhang Shidao said nothing. He stared at the screen and kept adjusting the energy input intensity data in the rune array. After confirming that it was correct, he pressed the start button. Start energy injection. Energy is being injected. Abnormal energy fluctuations detected. Start the calibration program. Calibration completed. Continue energy injection. Completion progress, 0.1%, 0.2%. Estimated completion time, 9:05 tomorrow morning. One-way space is being generated inside the rune array. One-way space has been generated. Protection program started. With the injection of energy, the larvae in the eggs became more and more active. Liu Junming looked at the three-dimensional projection of the larvae above the array, with a very fanatical look in his eyes. Okay, I guess you won't be so concerned when your wife gives birth. Zhang Shidao turned off the three-dimensional projection. This is different. Liu Junming couldn't see the three-dimensional projection, and looked at the egg-shaped egg in the rune array again, as if he was really looking at his own child. Zhang Shidao stood up from the console and carefully checked every rune of the rune isolation array. After confirming that there was no problem, he yawned and pulled Liu Junming to the door of the warehouse. It takes more than 3 months for a larva to grow into an adult. It's really long. Liu Junming looked back at the eggs. You've waited your whole life. Are you afraid of waiting another 3 months? Zhang Shidao mocked Liu Junming. I don't need this thing anymore, but after working hard for a lifetime, even if I see it work on Juck with my own eyes, it's a kind of spiritual comfort. Liu Junming smiled. I think you just won't give up, Zhang Shidao said as he locked the metal hatch of the warehouse. Will the hatched larvae escape from the isolation array? Yu Junming asked Zhang Shidao with some concern. No, this isolation array forms a one-way space. Unless someone destroys it from the outside, the things trapped inside can't escape no matter how powerful they are. Zhang Shidao shook his head. That's good. Yu Junming said nothing more, and walked out of the equipment department with Zhang Shidao. Watching Zhang Shidao lock the door of the equipment department, and then the two walked towards the dormitory area together. If everything goes well, the egg-shaped insect egg will hatch at 9:05 tomorrow morning, and the larvae will break out of the egg and enter the second stage of growth, which lasts for 3 months. It was 1:30 in the morning. The power was cut off in the training base as usual, and it was pitch black everywhere. Jin Ke in the villa had fallen asleep. Because of the power outage, his character did not hang up tonight, and he was taken back to the dormitory to sleep early. Zhang Shidao and Liu Junming, who had been busy all day, had also fallen asleep. The equipment department is located in a relatively remote place. It was quiet inside and outside, and there was no one. At this time, 2 people sneaked over in the dark. Albo and Wu Chuan. After the power outage, the hatch opening method was automatically converted to a special key combined with a mechanical password verification method, but this was not difficult for Albo, who had made sufficient preparations. After arriving at the gate, Albo took out the key, entered the password, opened the gate of the equipment department, and then entered the hall of the equipment department with Wu Chuan. After entering the hall of the equipment department, the two closed the door of the equipment department, turned on the flashlight on the front of the helmet, and illuminated everything in front of them. You damn old man, I'm going to smash your place to pieces tonight. Albo looked at everything in the equipment department and recalled what happened that day. He was filled with hatred. He walked quickly to the workshop where the rune carving equipment was located, turned on the high-energy cutting machine he brought with him and began to cut the lock facilities of the heavy alloy hatch of the workshop. Albo stole the high-energy cutting machine from the ecological park during the power outage. This thing is powered by a special battery and can not only cut various abnormal plants in the ecological park, but also cut metal plates several centimeters thick. Chapter 97, Getting Rich. The hatch of the base is very soundproof. The area where the equipment department is located is relatively remote. At night, there are not many people nearby. The high-energy cutter is a low noise tool. Albo was not worried about being discovered when operating it. Soon the hatch of Zhang Shidao's workshop was opened. Albo put down the high-energy cutter and rushed in. He took out a short knife and released skills to slash at the rune carving equipment. The rune carving equipment is a high-precision equipment. Albo's fierce attack with energy instantly smashed the shell of the equipment, splashing a lot of sparks and even starting to smoke in some places. Why did you smash the rune carving equipment? Didn't you agree to steal the treasure he brought back from his private work? Wu Chuan felt that something was wrong. Smash the rune carving equipment first, and then get that thing. Albo obviously had plans beyond the original plan. Not good. I heard that there is only this rune carving equipment in the base, which is related to the maintenance of all equipment. Once this thing is destroyed, the base will definitely conduct a strict investigation. Once we are found out, we will be in big trouble. Wu Chuan became a little worried. You don't admit it, and I don't admit it, so there's no way we can be traced back to you. Old Zhang has a bad temper and offended many people. Once he loses the rune carving equipment, he will have nothing to rely on. He will lose his value to the base supervisor and other leaders, and they might just exile him to the wild. Without the rune carving equipment, that kid surnamed Jin has been trying to curry favor with old Zhang for so long, but in the end he couldn't learn the rune carving skills. He must be very unhappy. Why not do such a good thing that kills 2 birds with 1 stone? While Albo and Wu Chuan were talking, they didn't stop and continued to attack the rune carving equipment. After Albo smashed the shell of the rune carving equipment, he smashed all the various chipboards inside. The entire rune carving equipment was completely destroyed, and it was not even worth repairing. What you said seems to make some sense, but destroying this equipment, Wu Chuan was still a little worried. Although they rarely leave the base now, They will definitely go out on missions frequently in the future. What can they rely on to repair the equipment when it breaks down? At a certain moment, Wu Chuan suddenly realized that Zhao Bo was destroying everyone's job by doing this, but it was too late to stop him. Zhao Bo had a strong desire to destroy since he was a child. When he was a child, he lived in an old apartment building. Because he lived on the top floor and could go to the roof, he often climbed up to the water tank on the roof of the residential building and urinated inside. When he grew up, his family had access to the internet. One time, the network signal was suddenly interrupted, so he couldn't play games. So he ran downstairs with a stool and cut all the wires in the exchange box. As for using sharp gravel to randomly carve on the body of the car on the roadside and piercing various tires with iron spikes, it was common for him. Later, as long as there was no one guarding the public property in the school, the public facilities in the park, the statues and fountains in the city, and the landscape of tourist attractions, he would find a way to smash or smear them. Seeing the heartache of others made him feel particularly satisfied. Zhao Bo, who often read Xie Beiwen, found a reasonable explanation for his behavior in online novels. This is called the understanding of thoughts. In addition, Zhao Bo felt that his awakened skills in the game Horror City were very powerful and his talent was so good, which should be related to his good at destruction and his ability to think clearly. At this time, the character was slashing and smashing wildly in the game, which fully released Zhao Bo's desire for destruction. Alas. Wu Chuan sighed. He always felt that what he did tonight was a bit too much, but it was too late to stop it. Ha 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 ha. I really want to see the expressions of Old Man Zheng and the bad boy when they see all this tomorrow. It must be very exciting. Zhao Bo stood in the workshop and laughed loudly at his achievements. Have you ever considered that if the equipment cannot be repaired in the future, we will also be affected? Wu Chuan couldn't help but remind Zhao Bo a few words. These things are naturally taken care of by the supervisors of the base. Why do you worry so much? Anyway, it is Old Man Zheng and the bad boy who are unlucky, not us. Zhao Bo looked disapproving. Before the electricity comes, get the treasure and leave here. Wu Chuan didn't want to say anything more. Well, let's see what treasure Zheng led to and the bad boy brought back from outside. Zhao Bo also remembered this incident. He left the rune carving workshop with the high-energy cutter and walked to the door of the locked warehouse at the back. According to the tip provided by a cleaner, Zheng Shidao often stayed in the innermost warehouse recently and did not allow anyone to approach. Only the workshop and this warehouse were locked in the entire equipment department, confirming that Zheng Shidao did hide the secret in this warehouse. With the high-energy cutter in hand, it was not difficult to open the lock of the warehouse. Zhao Bo soon cut open the door lock of the warehouse and entered the warehouse where the insect eggs were stored with Wu Chuan. What is that? Dinosaur eggs? Zhao Bo looked at the egg on the metal stand in the middle of the warehouse, the rune array carved by the metal blocks placed around it, and the energy-driven monitoring equipment on the wall with a strange expression on his face. It may hatch a very powerful pet. Wu Chuan analyzed it. This egg is not very big. It can be stolen. If it can be stolen, it will not be destroyed. Zhao Bo controlled the character to walk near the rune array, trying to get close to the egg, but was blocked by an invisible barrier. There is something wrong with these metal blocks engraved with runes. It may be some kind of restriction. Wu Chuan reminded Zhao Bo after observation. Oh? Zhao Bo walked over and tried to pick up a piece of metal rune, but was still blocked by the barrier. These rune arrays seem to be connected to the machine. Maybe the machine provides energy for the rune array. Wu Chuan made another analysis. Really? Zhao Bo controlled the character to walk over and release a skill attack on the machine. He quickly smashed the metal shell of the machine, and then took out a black crystal from it. Energy core? Zhao Bo checked the description of the black crystal. Let me see. Wu Chuan also hurriedly approached. Have you seen it? Zhao Bo asked Wu Chuan. Damn, this thing is very valuable. We've made a fortune. Wu Chuan heard Yuan Qiang introduce it when he was on the group mission last time. He said that you need to kill dozens of mutant black corpses to get a piece of this thing. After getting this thing, the D-level warriors in the base were very excited. It can be imagined that this thing must be very valuable, but I think that egg is more valuable. Zhao Bo looked at the egg in the rune array. Chapter 98. A sudden thought. You make sense. This energy core provides energy to the rune array, and the rune array protects the egg. So, there is no doubt that the egg is more valuable. Wu Chuan agreed with Xiaobo. I'll keep this thing first. We'll draw lots later. Whoever wins gets the egg, and whoever loses gets the energy core. What do you think? Xiaobo held the energy core and discussed the plan to divide the spoils with Wu Chuan. Okay, Wu Chuan felt that this trip was indeed worthwhile. Whether it was the energy core or the mysterious egg, he and Xiaobo had a very rich harvest tonight. Xiaobo approached the egg again. After the machine was destroyed and the energy core was taken away, the barrier formed by the rune array disappeared. It was so easy to crack. Wu Chuan felt a little surprised. How could the rune array that protected such a precious treasure be cracked so easily? There must be something wrong here. How capable can old man Zhang be? Xiaobo said as he walked over and squatted down to look at the egg placed on the metal stand in the center of the rune array. Wu Chuan also squatted down and collected a few cube-shaped metal runes on the ground, preparing to steal them for his own research. I guess this must be a dragon egg, which can hatch an SSS-level super dragon pet. Xiaobo looked at the egg with joy. I think this rune array doesn't seem to prevent outsiders from coming in to steal things, but seems to prevent something from escaping from inside. Wu Chuan said a few words to Xiaobo while studying the metal runes in his hand. Xiaobo didn't pay attention to what Wu Chuan said at all. At this time, he was frantically clicking on an icon on his mobile phone, and his character also reached out and stroked the egg. The egg-shaped object suddenly moved, as if something was about to come out of it. Xiaobo's expression became extremely excited. According to the usual routine of online novels, after a dragon pet is born, it will regard the first person it sees as its master. Now, he should experience all this. What is this? It can't be an alien, right? Wu Chuan saw everything on the mobile phone screen and suddenly felt that the situation was not good. How is it possible? Crow's mouth. This isn't an alien game. Xiaobo shook his head unhappily, and clicked a button on the screen of his mobile phone to study carefully. The eyes of his character in the game also moved closer to the egg-shaped object in front of him. At this moment, the top of the egg-shaped object suddenly exploded, and a black insect with a round head and more than a dozen legs about 10 feet long ejected from the egg-shaped object, suddenly pounced on the energy core in Xiaobo's hand, swallowed it into its stomach in an instant, and then kicked its more than a dozen legs and disappeared from Xiaobo's sight. What's going on? Wu Chuan hadn't seen what was going on. Fuck. It's not a dragon. It's a bug. The energy core was eaten by the bug. Xiaobo cursed, and then looked around. Originally there were two treasures, an egg and an energy core, but now there is nothing. Let's go. Wu Chuan felt that things were getting more and more wrong. Wait, I saw it. I'll kill it and take the energy core back. Xiaobo controlled the character to walk towards the shelf in the corner of the warehouse. Wu Chuan followed Xiaobo and walked over carefully. It was a bit strange that a bug came out of the egg, but it would be a waste to lose the energy core just like that. The bug that came out of the egg was now hiding under the shelf. It had more than a dozen legs under its round head, and its two fly-like compound eyes stared at Xiaobo, who was approaching with hostility. Spit out the energy core. Xiaobo was ready to launch a skill attack on the bug. The bug opened its ferocious mouth parts to show its power to Xiaobo, and at the same time, more than a dozen legs were stretched on the ground, ready to eject at any time. It seems to have grown a lot. Before Wu Chuan finished speaking, the bug under the shelf bounced and shot straight into the mouth of Xiaobo's game character as fast as lightning. Xiaobo's attack skill had not yet been released, and the character in the game had no time to react. He watched the multi-legged bug drill into his mouth and disappear. Then the character squatted down unconsciously and covered his stomach, with a painful expression on his face. Something seems to be wrong? Wu Chuan looked at Xiaobo, who was holding a mobile phone beside him. Did that thing get into my stomach? Xiaobo didn't see clearly what happened just now, but now he realized that something was wrong. Yes, I saw it. Could it be a parasite similar to the alien? The rune array of Old Man Zheng is not to prevent us from stealing things, but to prevent this thing from running out. Wu Chuan's expression of sudden enlightenment. Why didn't you say it earlier? Xiaobo frowned. If the multi-legged insect got into his character's mouth, it would be really disgusting. If it was really an alien, wouldn't he be in trouble? I just said it. But you didn't listen to me at all. Wu Chuan shook his head. I don't think this thing can be an alien or a pest. It should be a treasure like the Snow Mountain silkworm. Once it is swallowed, my skills and cultivation will increase greatly. Xiaobo suddenly changed his mind. Is there such a thing? Wu Chuan admired Xiaobo's sudden whim. Don't tell anyone about this. Since old man Zhang treats this bug as a treasure, it must not be a pest. I think that this bug entering my body is some kind of adventure. My body's attributes will soon soar, and my strength will also increase greatly, and I will become the king of this game. Xiaobo tried to think about things in a positive way. Don't the protagonists in those online novels all encounter such good things that others can't encounter, and then they become prosperous? Moreover, it is the character in the game that has been drilled into the body by the bug, not him in the real world. What is there to worry about? Tonight, he got 2 treasures, an egg and an energy core. He was going to share them with Wu Chuan, but now he doesn't have to share them. They all went into his stomach. Then, congratulations, I will need you to protect me more in the future. Wu Chuan felt that Xiaobo's words just now were not reliable, but in order not to offend his friends, he still congratulated him against his will. Look, my character has returned to normal. Nothing happened. Xiaobo found that his character was no longer holding his stomach, and he could control it as freely as before. You ate both treasures, so I came here in vain? You have to give me some compensation. Wu Chuan was not stupid, and of course he quickly thought of this very important thing. Chapter 99. I didn't eat the treasure. It just came into my stomach by itself. Can you blame me for this? You can compensate me if you want. When my character goes to the toilet, you can wait by my side. Maybe I can poop out some treasure, and you can just take it yourself. Xiaobo replied to Wu Chuan. Are you disgusted? Wu Chuan felt that he must have come for nothing tonight. Let's go. Let's talk about it when we get back. It's just a game. Why are you taking it so seriously? Xiaobo urged Wu Chuan. Wu Chuan shook his head and said nothing more. The villa where Xiaobo and Wu Chuan were also managed by a mentor arranged by the studio. But that mentor was very different from Chen Wei. He was an alcoholic who often drank alcohol and was very irresponsible at work. The internal management of the villa was very chaotic, and the relationship between the employees was not very harmonious. In addition, the villa where they were located had not experienced anything similar to Tao Mumu, Luo Jing, and Luo Xiangchun. The relationship between the employees was very unharmonious, and even if something similar happened, no one would know. Therefore, although some people have doubted the relationship between the game and reality in the villa where Xiaobo and Wu Chuan are, the contradictions have not yet erupted like in Villa number 16 of the Blue Home community. Xiaobo only treats Horror City as a game. Since it is a playful mentality, he will be a little unscrupulous in the game, and some bad habits in real life are infinitely magnified in the game. If he swallowed a scary-looking bug in the real world, he would definitely not think it was a good thing. But this is just a game, so he didn't take it too seriously. Instead, he had some unrealistic fantasies and thought that it was not surprising that his character might have some adventures because of this. Wu Chuan also only regarded Horror City as a game. If what happened tonight was in the real world, he would definitely not dare to go to the equipment department with Xiaobo to fight, smash, and steal things, and he would be more cautious when encountering the bug. But all this is just a game. If you take it too seriously, you will be laughed at by your companions. So even if Wu Chuan is a little worried, he is only worried that he will be punished by the studio after what he did is exposed, and he did not think of more aspects. There are many players in the real world who are more brain-dead, have fresher ideas, and are more peculiar than Xiaobo when playing games, without knowing that the death of the character in the game will also cause the death of the player. It is not too much for the player to do anything brain-dead or mentally retarded in the game. For example, in some online games in the real world, after being bullied or cheated, some players can spend money to buy props and curse in the public channel for a whole day, calling someone mentally retarded and stupid, and then greet the whole family, and they must get back what they suffered in the virtual world. Even if they can't get it back, they will curse back, even if the other party has been offline. In the eyes of other normal players, there is nothing much to criticize about these behaviors. At most, they will add a shield to turn a blind eye. just like they met an elementary school student when playing 20 Glory. Isn't it just a game? If you take it seriously, you will lose. For some things, the views and feelings will be very different from the perspective of God and the perspective of the experiencer himself. The two of them left the equipment department quickly while the power in the base was not on yet, avoiding the patrolling security guards all the way to return the high-energy cutting machine to the ecological park, and then returned to the number 23 dormitory area where their characters were located. Albo believed that as long as they returned to the dormitory before the power came on, the damage they did tonight would be unknown to the world. Everything tonight was like playing a stealth game for them. They smashed the equipment department, stole 8 treasures, and successfully completed the mission objectives. It was so thrilling. As for what will happen tomorrow, what else can it be? The biggest price is just being punished and deducted money by the studio. It's worth it anyway to get rid of the bad breath in my heart. What's more, this matter may not be traced to them. Albo and Wu Chuan live in a double dormitory in reality, and they are also arranged in the same double dormitory at the training base. I don't know if it was intentional by the studio staff or for some other reason. The layout of the dormitory in the game is similar to that of the room in the real world, but the furniture in the game looks a little older. Staying up late made the two people in the real world very tired. After settling the characters in the base dormitory, Albo and Wu Chuan in reality also fell asleep in the dormitory. Around 6 o'clock in the morning, Wu Chuan was awakened by the noise coming from the bathroom, so he got up and went to the bathroom, and found Albo lying on the toilet and vomiting, as if he had drunk too much. "Are you okay?" Wu Chuan walked over and patted Albo's back. "Who?" Albo turned around suddenly. "You." Looking at Albo's dark blue face, Wu Chuan was shocked. "Why does it feel like Albo has become like the black corpse in the game? Even weirder than the black corpse. This is the real world." Albo turned around and retched into the toilet again. "Are you sick? Go to the hospital quickly." Wu Chuan tried to calm down and persuaded Albo. "There seems to be something in my stomach." Albo stood up. His stomach made a strange gurgling sound, and he burped several times. These burps were full of a foul smell, just like the stench of a rotting corpse. Wu Chuan was immediately dizzy by the smell. "Don't talk, it stinks. Let's go to the hospital." Wu Chuan took 2 steps back and covered his nose. "Help me." Albo staggered towards Wu Chuan. Wu Chuan hesitated for a moment, but still reached out to support Albo. At this moment, Albo suddenly rushed towards Wu Chuan and hugged Wu Chuan's head with both hands. "Hey, even if I'm handsome, you can't do this. I'm a normal person. I'm not interested in this." Wu Chuan tried to stop Albo, but it was too late. Albo opened his mouth, and a black worm with many thin legs came out of it. While Wu Chuan was shouting, it suddenly got into Wu Chuan's mouth. It was too late for Wu Chuan to shut up. He only felt a pain in his throat, just like when he had a gastroscopy. Even worse than a gastroscopy. And then his stomach started to churn. What did you do to me?" Wu Chuan quickly bent over, scratching his throat, trying to vomit out the worm that had just entered his mouth. "Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. There are still dozens of them in my stomach. It's replicating like crazy." Albo fell to the ground beside Wu Chuan with a thump. Chapter 100. This is not a coincidence. Wu Chuan woke up with a scream. It turned out to be a dream. Albo, who was lying on the bed next to him, was awakened by Wu Chuan's scream. He stretched out his hand and pulled open the curtain between the 2 beds to look at Wu Chuan. "I just had a nightmare," Wu Chuan said to Albo with lingering fear. "Me too," Albo replied to Wu Chuan, then covered his chest with his hand and retched to the bed. "Are you okay?" Wu Chuan saw Albo retching and couldn't help but feel a little scared. Could the dream just now be true? Or was it some kind of prophecy and hint? "I'm fine, but the content of the dream just now was a bit disgusting." Albo shook his head, seeing that Albo's face did not turn the dark blue color in the dream. Wu Chuan was relieved a little. "Did you also have a dream just now? What did you dream about?" Wu Chuan asked Albo after he calmed down. "That dream was quite disgusting. I dreamed that there was a worm in my stomach, and it was replicating, or multiplying in my stomach, which made me feel uncomfortable and wanted to vomit. so I went to the toilet in the bathroom and tried to spit it out by scratching my throat, but then you came over, and then Xiaobo hesitated and stopped talking. What happened next? Tell me. Wu Chuan couldn't help but feel a chill on his back when he heard Xiaobo's story. You asked me to go to the hospital, and I also thought I should go to the hospital, but I was already a little unstable, so I asked you to help me, and you looked disgusted at me, and then Xiaobo stopped talking. It's not disgust, it's that your burps are very smelly, Wu Chuan explained to Xiaobo. How do you know that I burped in my dream? Xiaobo looked surprised. Not only do I know that you burped, I also know that you later forced me to hold down, and a worm came out of your mouth and drilled into my mouth. A worm with many legs. It really disgusted me. Wu Chuan loudly helped Xiaobo to tell all the unfinished stories. You actually had the same dream as me? Xiaobo was even more surprised. Why did we have the same dream? Wu Chuan showed a look of fear on his face. Coincidence? Xiaobo reached towards the bed again. Why do you keep retching? Wu Chuan felt worse and worse. Maybe the food I had for dinner was not right. I ate too much cold food. Xiaobo thought for a while and answered Wu Chuan. I know what's wrong. Wu Chuan looked around their room as if he suddenly remembered something. What's wrong? Xiaobo asked Wu Chuan. Just now we were in a dream. The scene we dreamed of in the dream was not this room. Wu Chuan's back was sweating again. If it's not this room, then which room is it? Xiaobo looked a little confused. Recall it carefully. The furniture in that room, the decoration style of the walls of that room are very shabby. Wu Chuan reminded Xiaobo a few words, and for some reason, his stomach began to feel a little uncomfortable at this time. Not this room? Indeed, not this room. I know which room it is. Xiaobo also suddenly realized something and showed an extremely frightened expression. The two picked up their phones almost at the same time. Many players who joined the studio have developed the habit of not quitting the Horror City game, even if they sleep in the real world. The characters in the game also sleep, and they still open the game and turn on the game's alarm function. Once the characters in the game are attacked, the alarm will be sounded. After Wu Chuan picked up the phone, he found that the phone was out of power. He remembered that he plugged in the phone charger before going to bed. After checking, he found that the charger was a little loose in the socket and was not connected to the power at all. Xiaobo's phone did not quit the game. After he saw the screen in the game, his face became extremely horrified. Wu Chuan quickly reconnected the charger to the socket, and then leaned in front of Xiaobo and looked at Xiaobo's phone screen. On Xiaobo's phone screen, Wu Chuan's character was kneeling by the bathroom door, vomiting on the ground. Xiaobo's character was lying on the ground next to Wu Chuan with a dark face. This scene was clearly the scene in the two people's dreams. Xiaobo tried to control his character to stand up, but his character did not move at all and lost all the response to the buttons. The two characters got off the bed in the game world without being controlled before, and something happened in the bathroom. The scene that happened in the game world became their common dream. The worm you stole from Old Man Zhang, it multiplied in your character's stomach, and then you, a disgusting guy, spit the larvae into my mouth again. Wu Chuan protested to Xiaobo with worry and fear. It's just something that happened in the game. Why are you so angry? Xiaobo looked a little scared, but he still had a hard mouth and didn't want to admit his mistake. I'm not angry, I'm scared. How do you explain the dream just now? How did you dream about the scene and things in the game, and we happened to have the same dream? Wu Chuan was very dissatisfied with Xiaobo's attitude. It's just a coincidence. You are too timid, aren't you? Xiaobo continued to argue stubbornly, even though he was getting more and more uneasy. Coincidence? This is not a coincidence. When we were dreaming, we didn't know what happened, but our consciousness, or soul, entered the body of the character in the game. There is something wrong with this game, a big problem. Wu Chuan's expression became a little scared. You have a problem with your brain, Xiaobo replied to Wu Chuan guiltily, and then leaned over the bed and retched a few times to cover up his inner panic. This is troublesome. We have to tell the instructor about this and let the instructor help us make a decision. Wu Chuan proposed to Xiaobo. No, this matter must not be told to the instructor. We smashed the equipment department of the training base, which seriously violated the regulations of the training base and the regulations of the studio that asked us not to cause trouble in the training base. Once the instructor knows about it, we will be severely punished. Have you forgotten what happened to the newcomer named Zhang after he violated the rules? Bo immediately rejected Wu Chuan's proposal. In their group, a newcomer named Zhang had an argument with an NPC at the training base and then started a fight. Afterwards, the training base determined based on surveillance that the newcomer named Zhang had initiated the fight, so the training base leader put him in solitary confinement after a trial and ordered him to stay in a small dark room for 20 days. The studio also punished the newcomer named Zhang in real life by deducting his daily salary and meal expenses for 40 days. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.